Peace to the gods. Peace to the gods. Come on in, family. Come on in. Man, do we have some things to talk about today? Come on in. Peace to the gods. Hopefully y'all having a beautiful Saturday today. Come on. Share the video. Give me a second. Let me turn this. Make sure everything is good. Okay. We're good to go. We're good to go. I'm going to let the people come on in. Y'all go ahead and share the feed. We got some things to talk about today. Let's share the feed. All right. So let me do this while we wait till the people come on in. I'm going to go ahead and share some things with y'all. First off, how y'all doing? How's y'all afternoon on a Saturday? I mean, the weather is beautiful where I'm at. The weather is beautiful. Y'all doing? How's y'all? Oh, excuse me. I got way too many windows up. We're going to get it in today. As y'all see the topic today, I got the sister puzzle coming through. We're going to get it in today. So let me go ahead and share a particular video so we can get it in. We can get it in. All right. All right. And while I wait on the sister to pop up as well. All right, let me go ahead and get the intro started. We're going to get it in. Peace to the guys. Let me know where y'all from, too. Where y'all coming from. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's get it started.
Yeah. They insured the ships, they paid for the whips, they funded the expeditions, they paid for the trips, and they talk about genocide, they funded our Holocaust, they screaming out Mazel Tov from throwing the Molotov. Hit you in your noggin, now your yarmulke falling off. It's Yahweh or the highway, you'll be dead when the shotty spark. When the shots hit your chest, it'll burn like Bacardi Dark. Return of the Falasha, kill the white Jew imposter. Because you lack the matzah to deal with my people proper. Now you gon' have to deal with this bleeping shotgun, the slumlord. The moment you see me, you know you done for. You even see my face on your TV, you better run for it. The evil Hebrew, unequal, you claim to be the chosen people. The wrath of God come to see you. No respect for Israel, you criminal, set the colony. You hate me cause I'm speaking the truth, you try to silence me.
I believe in my God and in my gun. And you say, well, you don't really believe in God if you believe in the gun. I believe in God and my gun. And I pray that He will bless you to practice when it's time to shoot. When it's time to shoot straight.
Yes, sir. Peace to the guys. Peace to the guys. And we back. So I want to tell you this while I wait on the sister to pop up, because I did a broadcast. Well, not really a broadcast. I put up a video a while ago, and some of us in the thumbnail, some of us just clicking in. This is about what's going on in the penitentiary, in the jail system, which I personally call just slavery. And things like that, modern day slavery, so just like, or probably even worse, what they did back then, they're still doing it today. So all the horror stories that we heard about, brothers and sisters, our ancestors, that was actually brutalized and everything pretty much under the sun happened to them, with being in prison, or even being enslaved back in the day. Those things are still going on today. Those things are still going on today. So while we wait on the sister to come through, I want to show you the video that I did in the past. Now, this video actually happened in St. Louis, and everything about this video is basically a riot that happened in the jail cell in the penitentiary out of St. Louis, in the middle of downtown, by the way. And the people there just got fed up. They got fed up. A lot of those brothers didn't get a rightful trial or didn't even get anything. They just kind of sent them to jail and they just started waiting until their court date. Some of them been in jail for like 6 months. Some of them been in jail for almost a year and haven't gotten a real good court date. You know what I'm saying? So, and I can imagine the things. First off, I can imagine how they feel. Then I can imagine exactly what's going on, in their mind. Then I can imagine exactly how the so-called officers there are treating them. You know what I'm saying? I know they was treating me a certain type of way just for having a traffic violation. They was treating me like a straight criminal. So that's exactly how they was talking to me. So I can only imagine once you in the system, for real, it ain't nothing pretty. It ain't nothing pretty. So I'm gonna bring up this video. Y'all just take a look at it. Just take a look. If you remember it, you probably already know, but just take a look. And again, this is a special broadcast, and I got the sister Puzzle coming in. So I'm gonna play that video as well. If you don't know exactly who I'm talking about, which you should, powerful sister. But let's see. So right here, if y'all remember, this happened in the St. Louis Correctional Center, right downtown. As you can see, windows are busted. People just fed up. It's like, yo, why we ain't getting a fair trial, fair court date? Why a lot of us here, and then we getting treated wrong? So they call themselves acting out. And this was their protest. They took over the jail cells, bust out the window, and say, hey, we need help. We need help. Now, this is the brothers. I'll tell you, when the sisters come on, she's gonna be talking about exactly what's going on in the women's penitentiary where she was at. So, and just check out these brothers, fed up, can't take it no more. And the thing is, our problem in our community, when something go wrong, we always calling the police. And we know for a fact that the police, they are our enemies, direct enemies. Because a lot of them, I'm going to say this, I ain't going to say the police anymore. I'm going to say race soldiers. Because we know what they truly are. They are race soldiers. So they love the fact, like, oh, you calling the police on the brother? You calling the police on the sister? One of the blacks? Because it's all a color of code in their system. I say, bring them on through. We got a lot of them in jail anyway. You'll be in there with family. That's how they feel. So in this video, they just fed up. They just fed up. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to show you that example. The brothers and sisters fed up.
Hey, Emily, this is, we're at the St. Louis City Injustice Center, right across from City Hall. They want to go to court. They want to go to court. They're demanding to go to court.
Now, I'm going to tell you, this happened a couple of months ago.
That's what they want, is to go to court. That's all they want, is a chance to go to court.
I don't really know the outcome. Also, I know that
this is going on right now, Trisha Elizabeth, yes. I see what you did.
This is the second or third riot that happened in that exact same facility. So we can only imagine what's going on all over the world when it comes to this.
They need help. They're saying they need help. They need to go to court. That they're not getting a chance to go to court. They want to go to court. This is what they're saying. How you doing this evening?
All right. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just one example. Now, here's the thing. I just played a video. I just put up a video not too long ago by the sister by the name of Puzzle. And Puzzle will be on today to share exactly her experience. Now, I want to tell you. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let this video tell you for itself. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up. We're gonna get it in. Peace to the guys. Y'all just coming in. Peace to the guys. You know what I'm saying? So let me see here. Let me bring this video up. You know, and some of y'all, if y'all have any experience with the system, the jail system, you have a loved one, you have things like that, just type it in the chat. Just talk about your experience. You know what I mean? Because this is a real thing that we are going through. You know, so some of us, some of our loved ones, we get locked up. We never really know exactly what happens after the fact. We really don't know because a lot of them don't even want to share exactly what happened. They just know they don't want to be there for too long. They don't want to be there at all. You know what I'm saying? So some of the things is just a clear horror story. It's hard to share. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna say the penitentiaries, the jail system is not a rehabilitation place. You know, and I'm gonna say for most, it's just a hustle. It's just a hustle. You know what I'm saying? So let me go ahead and share my screen again. That's the sister. She's gonna come in pretty soon, but I just wanted to catch y'all up with exactly what's on my mind today and exactly what we're gonna get into. All right. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. All right. Let me skip through. All right. Here we go.
We got 3 minutes. I spent 6 years in the street after I got kicked out of high school. Then I spent 2 years in college studying to be a paralegal. Then I got locked up for 11 unjust years that is still unanswered, but we'll get to that. Let me see where I'm gonna go from there. 5 years on parole, 4 years of college, CUNY BA student John Jay, and 2 years in philanthropy. So this is where my experience come from. Now, as soon as you get to prison, or rather jail, you're supposed to strip naked, right? And be inspected for gang tattoos. So you could go into a gang database if they at least allege that one of those tattoos are gang, right? But what we're not addressing here is the state violence and the safety of the community. And all of the hundreds of white correctional officers in Beacon Correctional Facility, Bedford Hills Correctional Facility, Taconic Correctional Facility, and Albion Correctional Facility. Not every single one, but hundreds of them. They have tattoos of black babies tatted on their arms with a noose around their neck. And they wear it proudly. And I'm sure if we took off some of these uniforms and some of these suit and ties, we will see those same black babies with nooses around their neck. This is about culture. This is not about structure. In 11 years, I lost 9 appeals. I lost a clemency. I lost a violent felony override, even though there was no allegation on any side of any violence, just mere possession of a weapon. Denied, denied, denied. Also given 4 extra months in prison time. And if you hear the way that I'm speaking today, you gonna know why. So, in Bayview Correctional Facility, which is a medium correctional facility for women that was located on West 20th Street in Chelsea Piers, organizers like the one from No New Jails was out there screaming, no jails. And I had no idea why they were screaming that. We were just looking at the penthouse across the street and the Hurricane Sandy, I need y'all to do another investigation.
For our family,
We were not
play
allowed
that
to see our
back just a
families
little
call our
bit if we
families
missed
for 2
something.
days. And after we called them, we were not allowed to tell them when we were 700 unanswered grievances and denials washed away into Hurricane Sandy. And all these women do is close their eyes and see those horror stories. And these correctional officers still keep their jobs while we are locked in cages, held captive. Now, the abuse that's in there is gonna we cannot run out of time because this is important. Bayview Correctional Facility washed away, but the memories that I had from all those grievances and investigations did not. 22% sexual abuse rate is because I demanded that women wrote it down. Do not be afraid, speak out. In comparison to all 4 other facilities, it was 2.2% complaints. Now you do the math on that. One last thing I will say, because there's a lot to say. I'm a BPI fellow. I'm a college and community fellowship a fellow. And I'm also a Ford Foundation fellow. In 2011, over 2,000 people in jails and prisons filed for NYC 210 tax forms. It was a scandal that the state robbed those people, both men and women, of all that money, and I need the state to do an investigation on that now. Everything that I say here is documented. My whole entire incarceration, I've made sure everybody documented every complaint. So before this construction of these new jails, if you're going to be fair to the people, seriously, do that investigation first and talk to women and girls who had wrote those complaints. One other thing. Hurricane Sandy, I need y'all to do another investigation. We were not allowed to see our families, call our families for 2 days. And after we called them, we were not allowed to tell them when we would go back to see them in this new nice jail that was close to home. We did not know where we would see them. Over 700 complaints of theft from guards, in which we all filed complaints and did get compensation for. There was a significant spike during this time of mental illness and new cases after the evacuation of Hurricane Sandy and displaced to all 4 prisons. Nobody cared about their feelings because they're property of the state and they will be shipped wherever the state wants them to go. Inside of a mental health cell, from this situation, I was stripped naked, put in a cell with a camera, no tissue, no pen, no books, no soap, no toothpaste, no toothbrush, no shower, no lotion. Freezing cold, no panties to hold a bloody pad between my legs for the entire duration that I spent there. I ate with my hands. Never in my life have I ever attempted suicide. Never in my life have I ever felt suicide. Never in my life would you find that documented, and never in my life will I ever do it. In 2012 in Bedford Hills Psychiatric Center, I witnessed horrific screams coming from a woman who was mentally ill as guards and mental health beat her to a bloody pulp, and I don't even know if she's alive today. That needs to be investigated as well. Thousands of these stories need to be investigated before this decision. No new jails, and I put out a new song today. Holla if you hear me, it's Puzzle.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it's deep. I mean, I'm going to keep it real. I ain't never heard nothing like that. People usually don't even talk about what's going on in the women's penitentiary. And can you believe that this sister has been targeted ever since, she did that? I mean, she came out with a group as well. She has a group that, and I'm gonna let her talk. So actually, Puzzle, I sent you the link. I'm going to let you say, you can say it way better than I can say it because you experienced it. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and click on that link and come right in. But I do want to say this, all right? Because the thing is, a lot of people will look at the sister and feel like she is part of Black Lives Matter. She a part of the LGBT community. Do you know that there's people in Black Lives Matter and even people in the LGBT community that actually attacked her, all because she's not on the exact same page as they are. You know what I'm saying? So, we have to think about this. There's certain entities that just in cahoots with each other that don't want the betterment of Black people. You know what I'm saying? So we have to keep that in mind. You have to keep that in mind. So, you know, I want y'all to think about that, but I'm gonna go ahead and share some more things. And I apologize. I didn't know that me muting would actually mute out the sound as well. So hopefully y'all got most of that, but you can always click on that video. I just posted that video a few days ago. You know what I mean? So, and I like what somebody just said, because when it comes to these different organizations, Black Lives Matter, LBGT community, you know, one thing that they don't say is they don't say be black first and we'll take care of you. So if we put in our religion first, if we put in our sexuality first, if we put in any other cause first, that's when it becomes a problem. That's when division will come in. Got to be black first, because we are black first. Guess what? When you came out, you wasn't a religion, you wasn't anything, but you was black. And I'm gonna say melanated or Nubian, because we know black in a court of law doesn't mean anything. So just to be clear, the color of the skin, you know, yeah, some of us was probably looking a little pale. I know I was looking a little pale. My mama was like, that ain't my son, because my mama brown skin. My daddy brown skin. I came out light. I came out white. But once that sun hit and start blessing my skin, you know, then, you know, I got darker, just like most of us have, and a lot of our children have. You know what I'm saying? So we all had melanin at the end of the day, and that came first before any religion, before any train of thought or anything. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so you say puzzle, you don't have any audio, or is it me? I don't have any audio. How this working? They say K Money think that they say that she's mixed. Shout out to K Money. So puzzle in the building. You say you have no audio, or I don't have audio. Can y'all hear me? Much love. Can y'all hear me? Okay. You can hear me fine. Okay. All right. So waiting on you, Puzzle. Go ahead and click in. Hit that link I sent you to your email. All right. But before we do that, I just want to kind of clear our mind a little bit, just a little bit. I want y'all to listen to the sister's music as well, because she also put her message in the music. I'm gonna say this. You know, when it comes to making music, a lot of us just want to put out stuff that you know, like let me put out a rump shaker for the ladies. Let me put out some what I do to another brother. You know what I mean? If he crossed me, or let me put out some music that don't got nothing to do with nothing. Don't got nothing to do with our liberation as a people. So this sister put out music that she feel could push a message. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna play some of them sounds while we waiting on the sister to come in. Okay, Puzzle, I sent you a link to your email. You have to click on that link, and you may have to do it from your computer, you know, because it's not gonna work from the phone. Once you click on that link, it'll bring you right in, Puzzle. All right. So just click on that link, it'll bring you right in. All right. So it's the StreamYard link. Yeah. Let me make sure. I'm gonna send the link by itself. Oh yeah, it's in there. So I'll send it again if you didn't get that for any reason. Let me send that link again. If you're having problems, just give me a call. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out Puzzle. Puzzle the Revolutionary. You dig? So I just sent you another link to your email, sis. And yeah, you're gonna get it. So while we wait on Puzzle to come right on in the building and spit that fire, we're gonna listen to her music. You know what I'm saying? So it's some of the ones that I like personally. You know what I mean? But let me go ahead and share that with y'all. And by the way, she has her own page. I put the link in the description, but if you don't know, it's Puzzle the Revolutionary. All right. So that's all you got to type in. Her page will pop right up. You know what I'm saying? So let's get it. Let's get it. Let me share this video. Y'all sit back and listen.
Rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, being nobody, is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not point fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
Inside of a mental health cell, from this situation, I was stripped naked, put in a cell with the camera, no tissue, no pen, no books, no soap, no toothpaste, no toothbrush, no shower, no. They had me caged like an animal, now I'm raised like a animal. Eat your face off, spit it out like a cantaloupe. Need to get my mind lifted, house, I'ma let the sailor go. This shit right here, that stars bang a banner flow. One phone call, I had them gangbangers in the ammo go. One phone call, I had them gangbangers in the ammo go. This shit right here, that stars bang a banner flow. One phone call, I had them gangbangers in the ammo go. Who I be is beyond comprehension. Not to mention, I'm on a whole nother dimension. Pay attention. They say I'm mentally demented, but that's only when you try and play me, but sensitive. I'm bold and I feel no sentiment. For my enemies, no scope, the clip is extensive. How funky do I keep it? Oh, at the highest percentage. Holy shit, over rented. Should've never said you never meant it. Shit can get real expensive. Real expensive. Real expensive. This shit right here. This shit right here is that stars bang a banner flow. One phone call, I had them gangbangers in the ammo go. One phone call, I had them gangbangers in the ammo go. This shit right here is that stars bang a banner flow. One phone call, I had them gangbangers in the ammo go. One phone call, I had them gangbangers in the ammo go. Yeah, ammo go. Go. I had to vent and let my story be told. No more gets to have to let it be known. I had to vent and let my story be told. No more gets to have to let it be known. Survived the grave, came from dust just to ride the wave. Survival was a must. I done paid the prices, caged with lifeless mothers, daughters, chained like Tyson. Baby in the belly, mental health telling you. Fuckers really tell me I was there in the belly, getting beasted on the whole precinct, breathing, yeah, still breathing, that's like puzzle.
Yeah, that's all
No puzzle, motherfucker.
That's all I'm gonna give y'all. You know, go check that out. Right now we having some connection issues with the sister Puzzle. I think she back up here. Let me go ahead and add it to the stream, and she may not be able to. Hold on, she clicking back out, and she'll be right back in. You know what I'm saying? So again, check out her page. Check out her page, Puzzle the Revolutionary. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, she told me a few different things. We had a long conversation. I'll tell you, I talked to the sister. We had about a 2-hour conversation. You know what I'm saying? And she told me a lot of things that's going on. You know, the fact that she's not even she has followers, but she don't have as many followers as a Malcolm X or a Grandmaster Jay or, Tariq Nasheed or whoever. You know, she don't have that many followers, but she's still being targeted. So that lets you know that she's saying some things that people don't like. She's saying some things that I'm going to say white supremacy does not like, does not want it to come out. You know what I mean? So those are the things that we're going to talk about. All right. So, sister, if it's just going to if it's just going to be audio, just give me a call. I'll put you on speakerphone. We'll do it like that. All right. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but we gonna figure it out today because this message need to get out. You know what I'm saying? This message definitely need to get out. You know what I'm saying? So, sister, if you hear me, just give me a call. We'll just do it like that. That's how we are rocking today. You know what I mean? I got people in the building. Where y'all from? Y'all go ahead and stay where y'all from. Somebody said they had heard from listening to the Tahaka Bay joint. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Over here, we for the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? We ain't for none of that stuff that someone could see. I'm gonna say it, some clown stuff. We ain't on that clown stuff over here. We on that knowledge. We want to know exactly what's going on, and then we want to know exactly what we can do as a people to come away from that. You know, we want to be liberated. You know what I'm saying? I got NYC in the building. We got Tennessee up in the building. You know what I mean? So NYC, more NYC, okay. Yeah, there's the sister from the East Coast too. Canada in the building. Detroit. You know what I'm saying? Like where else we from? You know, we got people from overseas. Where we at? Where we at? While I wait on the sister. Atlanta, St. Louis. Come on, St. Louis. You got to pull up on me. You know, I'm in St. Louis too. You know what I'm saying? So North Carolina, Texas, Michigan, you know, and Cali, West Coast. I love the West Coast. Love the West Coast. Perry, GA. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we in here. We in here from all over. We in here from all over. You know what I'm saying? So like I say, Puzzle, if you hear me, just give me a call. We'll do it that way. You know what I'm saying? We'll do it that way. So I'll be honest, some of this technology thing, I had a hard time even getting in, you know, let alone trying to figure something new out. We got Maryland in the building, and we got a lot of people from NYC. Okay. I love the East Coast too. I grew up off of the East Coast music, you know what I mean? So I got a lot of that spirit up in me. I'm talking about 90s stuff, you know. I don't know what they doing now with the music. I'm gonna be real with you. Yeah, no. I don't know what New York doing now with the music. I'm gonna keep it 100. But in the 90s, early 2000s, yeah. I'm a hip hop head too. You know what I'm saying? So we waiting on you, Puzzle. You know, we all in here for you. You know what I'm saying? We want to know some of that knowledge, you know what I mean, that you dropping. So I want to share this with y'all as well while we wait. And we're just going to break it down. You know what I'm saying? As we wait on the sister, you know, it's probably some things going on. You know, you never know. You never know. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, we're going to talk about it today. I know they probably scared for this message to even get out like that. So that's why I had to bring it to the platform, you know, because something got to give. You know what I mean? And I wanted to talk about our organization as well that she had. You know what I mean? She got it off the ground, but there's certain entities that actually said, no, you're not going to have this type of organization today. So, and after that, she was targeted. You know what I'm saying? She was targeted, you know? So, yeah, just want to bring that to your attention. And let me pull up.
I just want to alarm y'all.
Let me pull up this video. All right. While we wait on the sister. Let's get it. Let's get it in today, y'all. Let's get it in today. Oh yeah, you already know 90s hip hop the greatest. You know what I'm saying? That's when I fell in love with hip hop. Yeah, I know. Fell in love with hip hop. You know the thing about hip hop, true hip hop, it always have a message. It always come with a message. It always come with teaching you something. It's giving you some swag. It's giving you everything that you need for your spirit. You know what I mean? So, you know, nowadays we know that that's being controlled by the wrong people that don't want to edify our spirit, you know, with the things that we need. You know what I'm saying? So, but let's tap into this knowledge. You know what I mean? So let's tap into this knowledge. And again, Puzzle, if you hear me, just give me a call. We'll do it that way.
Something, right? Now, y'all see all the activism work that I've been doing.
Please, God.
I've been ruffling a lot of feathers. I'm still ruffling a lot of feathers. I got the clan all my Instagram. I got the clan all my Facebook, friending me, faking pages, imitating names of my friends. You know what I'm saying? Reporting shit. You understand what I'm saying? That song that I put out, fucking Ku Klux motherfucking Klan, the pigs. These motherfuckers sat here and on my Instagram, the shit ain't even really getting that many views for whatever reason. But they sat here and blocked that shit, reported that shit, called that shit hate, so that it won't be promoted. All y'all weak motherfuckers is showing me that y'all motherfuckers is scared. Y'all hide behind fucking pages. They on your pages, they on my pages. And guess what? You could be on it. None of this shit is private regardless. You understand what I'm saying? None of this shit is private. You can have your page private, it's still not private. Still not private, it's social media. Anything that you post is a possibility that it'll never be private. And that's all it takes is one motherfucking snake, one motherfucking foe. I already know what I'm up against. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have fun with you weak ass, whack ass motherfuckers. Okay, so I'm gonna let the people know. I'm gonna keep on letting them know. Y'all niggas is giving me fuel, baby. There's gonna be more motherfucking songs. You fucking clowns. What you think you gonna stop? You ain't gonna stop shit. You understand what I'm saying? It ain't gonna stop. Even if you stop it, it still don't stop. Because you can kill the body, you don't kill the revolution. You understand what I'm saying? That's why y'all sitting here emulating our leaders, posting shit on your page like Black Lives Matter. And a lot of people is confused because they just, you know what I'm saying, good-hearted or just naive to this shit. So they go ahead and they post shit what you wanted, thinking that shit is sweet, trying to get to me. Y'all niggas don't fool me. And you're not even that smart. That's what's making me laugh, is that y'all not even that smart. And don't worry, there's going to be a part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, motherfuckers. Just because. Y'all showing me just how much power I really have. Damn, I did not know. Like, I knew. But I didn't really know it was like that. This song right here, motherfuckers will spread it. It's not going to go nowhere. That was the whole point. What is you stopping? Nothing. Anything you do, I'm going to go around it. And when I go around it, I'm going to fucking crush you. Every single one of you motherfuckers. Every one of you motherfuckers. Look at you. Ooh, so scared, right? Shaking. Look at my beautiful black skin. Don't you hate it? Oh man, why you hate it so bad though? Huh? Why your ancestors blood us over here for? Huh? Because you needed us, right? Same way you still need us as a commodity. It's like black genocide out this motherfucker. I don't really understand this shit. Y'all want people. When my friend said on my page and said some shit that I was like, what is she talking about? I had to think to myself, what she's talking about, she's watching the media. She's watching the mass media, all this shit that you motherfuckers control. You understand what I'm saying? That y'all want people, y'all there setting fires in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, y'all setting all these fires, creating all these riots, all this ruckus, and we catching you on camera, we posting this shit on our pages. But they not following what we following, so they don't really know. They out of touch. So anything goes down, they're gonna even be able to speak to it even more, what I was saying. Every single fucking word. Y'all need to listen to me. Every single word that I've ever said. Every single shit that I've ever done. It's not for clout. It's not for a record deal. It's not for recognition. It's either you live, you die, or you be immune to shit. Straight up. That's the risk that you take. And there's a lot of them out there, man. And y'all sit here thinking that these niggas is for the course. Nah. They sitting there posting the same shit you posting. Simulating the same shit you sing. You know what I'm saying? But if you read through the line, you can see them. You can see them. They obvious. Y'all obvious. Y'all way too weak. Y'all think y'all know. You don't know. You don't know nothing. Every single day, just getting stronger, smarter, wiser, better, more strategic. You cannot stop it, motherfuckers. And I already told you. Well, you just cannot stop it. It's going to be like wildfire. Motherfuckers is awakening. There's nothing to put us back to sleep. Once you woke, motherfuckers. You woke. They gonna know. They gonna fucking know. If they don't already know, they gonna know more. So every day I'm learning something. You know what I'm saying? Fucking Chucky went out there, Minneapolis, people sitting over here showing all these images about this being destroyed, that being destroyed. What's the images that she showed when she physically went out there? Community shit. Motherfuckers is helping each other. Motherfuckers is feeding each other. Motherfuckers is solidarity with each other. They not posting those images. Why you think?
Yeah, so I'm gonna stop right there, family. You know what I'm saying? That video sub, as you can see, you know, there's been all types of things going on. You know what I mean? How she's been targeted as well, you know, on the things that she's talking about. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull her in because I do have her. We still having problems with some actual, you know, video to see her. But right now, we're just gonna work with the audio, the sound. So you are in Puzzle. And everybody, welcome to the platform, Puzzle the Revolutionary. What's going on, sister?
What's good with you? What's good? You get me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
So that's what it is for now. It's my first time on live on YouTube. I'm not a digital person. I end up recently being, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I already know. I mean, hey, you've been away for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so I'm pretty sure a lot of things are new. You know what I mean? So
Right.
Yeah, but we're gonna get it in today anyway. They ain't gonna stop the information today.
Oh, absolutely not.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna leave it up to you. I already gave an introduction, but if it's things that if you want to give your own intro, by all means, you know, so people can know exactly where you're coming from and what's going on.
Introduction. So I'm really here. Like I said, I'm not a part of this digital world. You know what I'm saying? I got convicted in back in 2004. Before I was the age of 21, I got convicted criminally liable for another person. And so I'm speaking from that perspective. And then like how I really transformed my life from a former gang member going into prison. Prior to prison, I was in a gang, but I had dropped out 3 years before going to prison. So in other words, being a gang member had no influence at all on me going to prison. Like I was a college student, you know what I'm saying? I had already started to transform my life. And so like now my experience, I get to this point now, it's like, yo, I got something to say. I got something major to say. Because anybody who got the same skin color as me, anybody that look like me, anybody who's a female like me, anybody who's living at the intersections like me, being Black, being a female, being formerly incarcerated, being either LGBTQ plus I or all of the above, like there's a lot of stigmas that come with that. So you got to deal with all of that, as well as like coming back into the community, as well as what led you to go to prison in the first place, you know? And then you got to deal with what prison is and what jail is. Some people don't know the difference between jail and prison. You know,
Yeah.
The difference between like people that even been to jail and prison don't know the difference between jail and prison type shit. So the difference between jail and prison is that jail is usually 80% of that population is awaiting trial. They are awaiting for their case to be heard, right? Just because they have a case, that do not make them guilty. That do not make the person who put them there correct. There's a whole process in which you have to go through to prove that that person did what they're accused of doing, even no matter how, right, damaging the evidence either A may seem or B may not seem. 80% of that population is not guilty. That's why there was a whole big bail movement, bail reform movement, right? Khalif Browder got accused of stealing somebody's $20 backpack, landed him in jail, right? 16-year-old kid in jail for allegedly stealing somebody's $20 backpack, and lands him in jail for 3 years. He's going through all kinds of mental health stuff, right? So my thing is this, just in case anybody on here did not know, is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so since it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and this is like a real topic in like a lot of million different type of ways, especially in the Black community, I want to, like, everything that I have to say, I want it to be focused and zoomed in on that. Because I feel like, you know, everything else that we have, whether it be materialistic, whether it be stuff that other people have that we might want to aspire to have or aspire to be, none of that don't mean nothing if you don't have your sanity. You know what I'm saying? And what does it take to have your sanity? You don't have your housing, you don't have no job, you don't have your sanity. That's not your sanity. You know what I'm saying? Not being able to subsist in a society that says if you do A, B, and C, you will be able to subsist. Not may, you will. You understand? So I want to get into all of that. My introduction is very long. There's a lot of pieces to this puzzle, so there's no real introduction. It's just what you see is what you get, and what you think you know is what you don't know at all.
Right.
That's for the other side, straight up. Because they in here, trust and believe that. And I'm not here to bite my tongue. So the fact that my camera's not working, trust and believe my camera's not working because I've never been on YouTube right now. Right now, I'm wearing I'm wearing red and black right now, and it says FCK Prison. I'm ready for this camera, so just know that my voice will be as loud as my visual. You know what I'm saying? If you want to see what my visual is like, I have a lot of YouTube videos that I've been putting out since I put myself out there, and that's why I'm in the problems that I'm in now.
Indeed. Yeah. So, I mean, speak your truth. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you need to say, hey, you're not censored over there. You're not censored at all. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so go ahead. I'm gonna leave the floor to you. Whatever you want to start with first, it's all on you. Whatever's on your mind right now. Then we just go from there.
Well, also, I feel like I know a lot more about my experience than what your audience, your platform may want to know. So, you know, and also what you may want to know, like, I want to be of interest to what everybody want to know of. So, like, I'm not all into the comments, just know I'm more like focused on what I'm gonna say, but I will time to time look at the comment.
That's cool.
Somebody's like sending me a message to say something.
That's cool. Yeah, that makes sense. So whatever you want to start with first, is, you know, it's up to you. You know what I'm saying? We're just gonna bounce off of each other like a regular phone conversation. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we're gonna get it. Yeah.
So let's start here. I was convicted in Nassau County, in Long Island, in New York, criminally liable for another person. I was a kid by definition. I was a dependent of my mother at the time, right? And the person that I got criminally liable convicted for had gotten away. He had evaded hundreds of cops, canine, and helicopters. It had this huge manhunt out for him because he decided that he was going to go out into a wealthy white neighborhood, a wealthy all-white neighborhood, and jump into somebody's kitchen through their garage. So what he did was he jumped in through their garage. He got in through the window through the garage, which led him to the kitchen. Once he got into the kitchen, there was a person wallet. He took the person wallet and ran out. Right? So what we talking about is one of the most coward crimes that we could be talking about. I'm going to just put that aside right there. That's number one. Like, I'm talking from a point of where I'm spending 4 years in Bedford Hills Correctional Facility, a maximum correctional facility where the minimum time that any woman is serving is 7 years. The maximum is life without parole. So when I learn what other people is in there for, I'm like, man, don't worry about what I'm in here for. That's not even relevant. I spent my whole bid that way. You know what I'm saying? Because the idea that I'm learning about what everybody else is here for and how much time they got is just kind of bizarre to me. So let me focus on my peers. That's what I focused on, right? So my thing is, there was a personal wallet stolen. For a fact, it was stolen. For a fact, I wasn't there at the scene of the crime, right? So I'm going out with a friend who's telling me he about to stop at his sister's house. He stops at his sister's house, but I'm like, yo, he stops at an area that's like maybe like a block or two away, right? And it's like, yo, I'm about to go into the house and pick something up. Come right back. So I'm waiting for him on the motorcycle. a weird area. It's wooded on one side. It's like this huge big house under construction on the other side. And it's pitch black. It's dark. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just a weird situation. So the long story short is, by the time he come back, like 15, 20 minutes later, come back like nothing, regular. We about to go on the way to his crib. About 15 minutes later, all I know is I just remember seeing sirens, headlights, like no other indication that there was a crime that had been committed, right? So there's a high-speed motorcycle chase. All of a sudden, as soon as I see the lights, is a high-speed motorcycle chase. So we going like $120, $150 in the pitch black dark into a cul-de-sac area. So the motorcycle, as it's going 120, is at a high-speed motorcycle chase. It cannot go and maintain that speed going through a cul-de-sac. So a cul-de-sac is set up like a circle, right? Yeah. So the bike, imagine a car or a bike going in a circle, right? And so the bike now wipes out. I'm the passenger of the bike. I'm not controlling this bike. The victim of the residence never saw me. She never heard a motorcycle. Everybody knows motorcycles is loud. I don't have nothing to do with this crime. I don't have nothing to do with this burglary at all. That's the facts of the case. That's 9 appeals worth of facts of case. Like, this is no cap. You understand what I'm saying? I had a weapon on me. I had unlawfully possessed a weapon. So that's what I was guilty of. And that's what I was willing to plead guilty of from day one. But what happened is, he ends up evading 100 cops. He ends up evading helicopters and K-9 unit. So now this is a manhunt for a nigga that we ain't even fucking get. And then, bitch, you think you about to sit here and be quiet and not tell us who the fuck he is? There's not a female cop in sight. Forget what race they are. There's not one female cop in sight. I'm being searched by a white man. I'm surrounded in the dark, not knowing half of what's going on. I'm surrounded in the dark in a wooded area that I don't even fucking know. Out in Long Island, surrounded by 100 cops that's sitting there designing the scene, how they want to design the scene. But I'm so young, I see them design the scene, but I don't know what's anything until I actually go through this whole entire process, right? Because there's gonna be a trial. 98% of the United States citizens or United States, anybody that's up in here, they don't go to trial. That's the track record. That's the statistics of this country. And if that's the statistics of this country, I need you to know that right here in lovely New York, in Long Island, where the statistics are different in the city, in Long Island, is 99% people do not go to trial. Why? Because they know they're going to lose. You telling me I'm not old enough to drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes, but I'm old enough to face 5 to 25 years, not to life, but 25 years. And then you sitting here telling me if I blow trial because I don't want to, quote unquote, give somebody up. This is the language that's written in my records that was typed up by a stenographer. Like, you know, I'm talking from facts right now. Mm-hmm. So because where I come in right now, where I'm making myself visible, where I'm putting myself out there, that's because what happened to me is happening all across this country. And once I figured that out, I started to speak out. Because you know what? It's not enough for me to be collecting all this guap and ain't gonna drop a couple of Jews to let my niggas know what's up. Like, this is what it is. Like, this is where I come from. I try to change my life over 100%. I changed my life over. Still change my life over. What that mean? I'm not who I am. What that mean? I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. What that mean? My experience, not my experience. What that mean? We going to continue to pretend for this bag that we talk about. We going to continue to pretend that this is not a continuation of slavery. We're going to continue to dismiss the work of Malcolm X, Martin Luther, Rosa Parks. Can I keep going? Angela Davis is still alive, by the way. Long history of her work. You understand what I'm saying? So all of this spooky shit y'all doing, all of this death threats and all of this shit, I'm going to get into all of that. Because I'm not here to be feared. You understand? And it's not like I'm not human that I don't fear fear. I'm definitely that. But one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to live I don't know what that's like. So right now I'm on this platform with no other reason but to build allies. And allies that's just as pissed off as I am, and that's ready to really snuff somebody right now. Because that's really from the angle that I come from.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say a little more than that, because you know what? I spent 11 unjust years in prison, in all 5 prisons in New York State. And I spent those unjust years watching correctional criminals do some criminal shit that they don't have to be held accountable for. And it confused the fuck out of my mind. And it pissed me off. And then it started to traumatize me, right? Because now I come home and I'm thinking, okay, people want to know this. They asking for this information. They quote unquote asking for it.
Yeah.
Nah, not what I want to say. They don't want to know. She wilding. See how I talk? That's how I talk. That's how I live to talk. That's how I'm going to talk anywhere that I am, whether in the can or not in the can, whether wherever. Because that's all we have is our First Amendment rights. Like people sit out there and they post up, right? For their Second Amendment rights. Your First Amendment right is just as powerful, right? Just as powerful. Because if it wasn't, what I have to say, I'm just chatting, right? We all just really chatting. But if there's something to what I'm saying, and in my experience, I could point to it. Ask me anything, I'll tell you about it. I can't even stay on one topic. That's how jumpy I get, because there's so much to the system. It's not one piece. And then I get this energy because, you know what, at the end of the day, I know I'm talking to you and us, but I know I'm mostly talking to these motherfuckers. And they not here for the right reasons.
Yeah, they trust me. They in the building, you know what I'm saying? All the trolls, because not everybody comments, you know what I'm saying? The viewership, there's a lot of people that just looking to see what's going on. A lot of those are trolls, police officers, or whoever. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know, I'm already here. So talk about your full like arrest like experience. You know, so I don't know if you went to trial first or you know, like talk about that whole experience and then what happened, you know, once you were in jail or in prison, stuff like that. So, you know, if you want to share your experience.
All right. So, like I said, there's a difference between jail and prison. So, some people, if they could afford to bail out, like everybody gets offered a bail. I mean, not everybody, but most people get offered a bail. Depending on the severity of crime, you might not get offered a bail, right? So back in the time, in the early 2000s, when I got locked up, you know, things are a lot more, quote unquote, progressive now, where a little bit has changed. But back then, like even coming up on funds, like the Black community to come up on funds was difficult, you know. So to come up on $30,000 in cash was difficult for my mom, who had mad other mouths to feed, you know. So it's basically like, it's either you're going to bail out or I'm going to pay for your attorney. Those is my options. And I'm like, if I end up blowing trial, this time that I do is going to count. So I'd rather you pay for my attorney, because the legal aid is telling me to cop out of 5 years. They don't have no evidence on me. You understand what I'm saying? I'm possessing a weapon. That's what I have. That's what I'm willing to cop out to. That's what I'm willing to do time for. That's what I know I am guilty of. That is what it is. No matter how I came into contact with that weapon. You understand what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is that this became a different kind of situation. It's not that I wanted to go to trial. Is that you're not going to put me on, you're not going to put on me something that don't belong to me just because you want me to help you do your motherfucking job. Like, that's not my job. I don't care what nobody say, what this is how it go when you don't this and this and that. No. That is not my job. I have my rights, right? My right is to exercise my right to trial. My Sixth Amendment right is to have the right to a counsel, a competent one. So that's what I'm going to try to exercise. And since the legal aid that I'm not paying for is telling me to cop out, then yeah, I'm going to take my mom's offer and say, yes, I want an attorney instead of bailing out. Those are my options. For some people, they have it, they family have it. Maybe they have property, a vehicle or a house they could put up on it. None of those was my situations. I came straight from poverty, so that's what my circumstance was. Nevertheless, though, I understood my circumstance in the sense that I had a little bit of college education. I was already getting back on the right track. And because I'm in jail, don't mean I'm going to stop that. So, you know, education became my ultimate goal. and I just continued on to that trajectory. I continued on to that goal. Nobody's going to make me be a criminal just because they had me handcuffed and shackled. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if they offer in school, I'm going to take school because that's who I am. And that's just what it is. And so I say that to say, because it's like, everybody talks about the wild Black community, the Black on this quote unquote fake fictitious Black on Black crime, right? And I'm quoting that because there's Asian on Asian crime, white on white crime, Hispanic on Hispanic crime, but they only call it Black on Black crime. Crime is going to happen where you're in close proximity to anybody, right? And that's not just coming from some shit I heard on YouTube or read. It's literally come like facts. Nah, like on some G shit. I want everybody to know this. The perspective that I come from, and why I have sometimes so much anger, so much rage, and I might hop to different topics, is because I'm coming from the perspective of somebody who was a former gang member, right? One. Then I got kicked out of school when I was trying to change my life around. Then I got the nerve to get kicked out of school and then to get into a college without a GED. So that's where I was at prior to getting arrested, even though I still hung out with whoever I was affiliated with. It is what it is, right? And that's how you get guilty by association. So that's what lands me in prison, guilty by association. Doesn't change where I was trying to go in my life. And so the idea that I could sit here and change my whole life around in prison, I'm gonna fast forward just a tiny bit. I'm gonna change my whole life around in prison in terms of going in there without a GED, get a GED, get an associate's degree in liberal arts from one of the top 5 prestigious college in New York, if not in the US. But then have the nerve to come home with 5 years on parole after spending 11 illegal, unjust years that has its own circumstances, situations, each day by day, month by month, year by year, and decade down to the last days of which I had experienced. But nevertheless, I came home homeless, still the happiest you could be. In traffic on the train, what? Y'all stressed? This is love. Like, that's how it was, because there's no better place to be but outside of a cage. You're a human. You don't belong there. You understand what I'm saying? So your body is naturally like, whoa. The problem was that I'm still a criminal in the eyes of all of these people, right? I didn't just do my time to come home now and just be a citizen, have my full rights restored, or even at least at bare minimum, just serve my time and not have to go and be on 5 years of invisible chains that creates an invisible disability. Because the worst thing that somebody could be is in a position like Grandmaster Jay right now, which is to be on invisible chains. You can see him time to time, you can hear him, but you don't see the psychology behind what's being done, and you can't even explain that. You just have to endure and try to vent as much as you can and hope that people understand where the anger is coming from. But I don't know. Shoot at me, wherever.
Yeah, I feel you. Now, Zach, I definitely feel where you're coming from. Things like that. I know one of the things that really got my attention about your story is the fact that you've seen a lot of things when being caged. With some of the other sisters and women where you was at. So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that experience, about some of the corruption that you actually seen, when you were locked up, and then some of the stories that you heard. I'm pretty sure a lot of people came to you with these different stories, So if you want to speak on that.
Yeah, for sure. I'll speak on that, because at the end of the day, that was like one of the main points of my transition into, I don't even want to say a role as an activist, because I feel like I'm more of an advocate, right, than an activist. And the difference between an advocate and an activist is that an advocate more so speaks out for people, and an activist is more like active and putting themselves out there. And so because of the trauma that I already was experienced from my own experience, I wasn't really like trying to be out there. And then I'm trying to survive 5 years on parole, right, after had done so much times. I just want to not have this lingering over my head. So I didn't want to do anything to jeopardize that, even though my hand ended up being forced, and I ended up saying, it is what it is. But what I will say, like I will say, my whole testimony, I was so enraged by my own situation But I felt like I had already exhausted all my remedies. So it was already behind me by the time I had came home. So it was this last previous job that I had held where I was working as a program associate on a criminal justice initiatives fund, where we gave grants to, local organizers or organizations or groups who was doing bail or police reform. And so when I started to learn from all of those people across the country, what was going on in their local city or their state or their town, it just started to trigger my own experience and to know that that my experience and what I fought for all of those years, no matter how many times I tried to let it go and move forward, something always plugged at me because there was something to it that wasn't always right. And now I found out what wasn't right. Like, this was deliberate what happened to you. You ain't gonna come up in here and think you're gonna be one of 1% to do what you did and succeed. Nah, what kind of message you think that's gonna send to everybody else? And literally, that was their words. So when I go into jail and prison and to hear my story and to hear other people's story be either similar or worse, or it's just so many different variations of stuff that had happened. But one common theme is that people are overcharged and people are over sentenced, and then different people go through different things in prison. Like I heard, like somebody reached out to me that I know personally that had done 14 years. And when she heard my testimony, it's as if she did 0 days. Because she was a good person in prison, right? What it means to be a good person in prison is you ain't gonna write no grievance. You're gonna shut up. Somebody do something to you, you're gonna shut up. If you want your time to go smooth, you will shut up. And if you don't shut up, your time is not gonna be smooth. And when you sitting there with 10 and 15 years, you want your time to be smooth because that's your life right now. So it's not even like nobody's more, you know what I'm saying, this than nobody else. Is that people got to make certain decisions. People have children, people have husbands they need to see and have sex with. You having problems, you ain't getting that. So you not willing to have sex with a CO, you want to have sex with your husband, you're gonna behave. You understand? So it's like different people, it's gonna have different experiences.
Okay, so when you talk about behaving, because and shutting up, are you saying that there were sisters and people that was locked up and they were, let's just say, they were being harassed and all these other things that was going on in that system? Are you saying that they had to be quiet in order to get certain things, in order to see their husband or see their loved ones? They just
absolutely
have to talk about everything.
It's a sacrifice, whether in prison, whether outside of prison, whether you've never been in prison, whether you take a shit from your boss and he talking shit to you and you want to smack the shit out of him, or whatever job you have, do what you need to do. But at the end of the day, you got mouths to feed, you got bills to pay, you got rent. So you like, all right, I might hold off 30 more days, or I might hold off this. You might plan your way out. But for the meantime, you got to deal with what you got to deal with until you get better, right?
Right.
In this circumstance, people are trapped. So their time depends on everything that they doing it. If I fight a correctional officer because they disrespected me first, and then I responded to them, I'm always going to be in the wrong because I'm a criminal. I'm a felon. I'm everything that you said that I was. I'm this number that you wrote on my shirt that I have to wear everywhere that I go. You know what I'm saying? You get a rule book when you go to prison. And there's some rules that you got to follow. Some are vague, some are straightforward. And then others, you're just going to learn from everybody else. They're going to tell you a million stories. You got nothing but time to listen to what this place is about, that place is about, who this person is, that person is. Like, it's a whole completely different world. If you've never been there, some of this stuff might be a little bit difficult to comprehend. And so ask me, you know what I'm saying? But everybody does time a different way. I'm speaking for me and a lot of other people. But there's like a lot of people who are already speaking out for themselves, and a lot of people that really want to speak out for themselves. They just not there yet. And so that was the whole point of what I was trying to do, is to develop a platform with people who wanted to speak out, because at the end of the day, this is therapy right now. My forms of therapy, if we have time to talk about that, I can't experience that like the average person because of where I come from and because of how, like, I'm literally a commodity. Forget just being black. Being formerly incarcerated is more of a commodity than being black. Being black and formerly incarcerated, Scrooge McDuck is swimming right now. Like, that's bread right now. You understand? That's the whole entire bag for the next decade right now.
Yeah, yeah. And just speaking on, all the money that they make from putting people into, the correctional and jail system and things like that, the private jail systems and all these other things, So I want to ask you this because you said something
Mhm.
about women should not be incarcerated or jailed. Women and girls should not be incarcerated or jailed. What do you mean by that exactly? You know what I'm saying? Because I know there's people that they just really do bad things and stuff like that. But what do you mean when you say women shouldn't or girls should not be incarcerated or jailed?
So I'm gonna just give you a little bit of background.
Okay.
I'm a female. Every day since I've been born, I identified as a female. No matter how rough or how tough, how much how I look, it is what it is. I'm a female, right? And so at the end of the day, that's my experience. However, because I'm gender non-conforming, I honestly cannot say that I experienced everything that a more feminine female experiences.
Yeah.
However, because the way that I am, just not how I look, but just my personality, how raw I could be sometimes, and because like I'm just somebody you could confide in if something's, going wrong. And so while I was incarcerated since from day one, a lot of women have confided in me. Like there's been stuff that I've actually witnessed. There's been stuff that I've grievances that I have filed on behalf, which grievances are just prison complaints, a way to have your complaints heard, a process. And so, at one point I was a grievance clerk. So I was filing grievance on behalf of other women. And so this is how I would do that job. I mostly is where I learned about a lot of different things and realized that, okay, right. When I had that job, I was 6.5 years. I had already done 6.5 years worth of jail and prison. So for 6.5 years, I had already heard these stories from associates or friends already, or had overheard or witnessed something with my own eyes. And then now it is, I have this position that I had because I was raising other issues unrelated. And then now most of these grievances are coming in about like harassment, sexual assault, rape. And so it started to like make me upset because some of these officers, you would look at them and you can't even tell that they fucking like that. And it's like, 98%, if not around between 95%, between like 90 and 98% of complaints of sexual violence or sexual harassment, any of those categories, sexual assault, like women, regardless if it happened to them really or not, is not taken serious and it's not heard. And what's worse is that they don't remove that officer. So it's like you got to think of somebody having that sexual assault outside in the real world being a horrible thing. But then you get to hire people who are sex offenders, right? And then they get to come into a female prison where the women, you know what I'm saying? Like the men and the women are different. Like people try to compare the two, like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like women make babies. Let's just be clear, right? So doing time for women may be a little bit more emotional. They might respond to things a little bit more differently. Like y'all might do 100 push-ups and get to the weights and stuff and stick together. And they might sit here and gossip and eat a whole bunch. And once we came to that conclusion that that's where we had it wrong, we got that shit straight. And so during my experience, what I noticed is that stuff went from what we complained about to what we started to do about. Like, let's stop talking about what the men get. Let's talk about how we gonna get what the men get by doing what we need to do, like the men do what they need to do. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, there's one thing about sexual violence in behind bars that I cannot explain. That whole testimony was supposed to be 3 minutes. I didn't plan for it. Like I wrote that stuff in minutes over there. That wasn't like staged or performed. That wasn't no talking points for no. Nah, that came straight from my experience. I told my employer I'm taking the day off today. I got some other business to handle. You understand what I'm saying? As a United States citizen, this is my right to assert my First Amendment right. And there was people that was there for the new jails and they spoke for the new jails. Fine, that's their right. They spoke for it. Some people spoke against it. And I was one of those people because I don't believe that we should spend $11 billion in taxpayers' money that, a lot of us don't get to control where the money go other than to sit on a testimony and talk about it. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way we control where the money go. And then not even there, but at least we feel like, yo, I'm making my tax dollars. I'm going to tell you, I don't vote for new jails. I don't think you should spend $11 billion on 4 new technological jails in New York City. That's going to be the model for the rest of the country. You know what I'm saying? That means that jails, if they're controlled by robots, they're going to be here to stay. Now, do I know 100% for sure that they're going to be controlled by robots? I was not there in that conversation, so no, I do not. But I would believe if we're in the digital world and $11 billion is a hell of a lot of money. It's not 11 million, by the way. It's 11 billion. That's a whole lot of zeros. And so if we're going to spend that much money and invest it into jails, though, not even prisons. Like prisons is where you go when you've done something so crazy and wrong. We're talking about jails, a population where 80% is not guilty, and a population where we have already proven and showed that when we put money behind bail funds, where people would say, you know what, I need some money to sit here and bail people out, because I believe if we bail them out, they're not going to be found guilty of their crimes. The only reason why it's a 98% guilty rate is not because it's 98% people guilty. It's because they're looking at their kids, their jobs, their house, and how much other people is about to lose out if they lose out. A lot of those people are breadwinners, the breadwinners of their household. And for women, and for the point that I speak of, is that I'm of a small category. Females that do not look like me are in a whole nother category. That is the majority of the system, right? Yeah. And so they are 75% sole providers of 1 to 2 dependent children coming into the system. They are 75% coming into the system with a substance use or a mental health issue coming into the system already, right? So now where's your kids? Where your kids at? You know how much women, like I had studied the law for my own self, but I have also helped a lot of women try to get their kids back. That whole process is tough. I don't have kids, but to help somebody else do it, I can't imagine what they're going through on their end when they can't get their kid back. And then they got to kiss a lot of ass when they come home just so they could get their kid back. So when I'm telling you that the sacrifices are different, I need you to know the sacrifices are different. So when we're talking about sexual assault, there's categories in prison. We're talking about people who are really raped, who didn't want it, who didn't even ask for it. Some nigga tried me his motherfucking self during a cell search. That's how real it is. Like, nigga, what? Like, I'm like 9 years almost on my way out of prison, and you try some shit, like, it's just weird. So my thing is this. For other women, you understand what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you this. Like I said, it's a difference between men and women. Women still want to look like women. They try to masculize the women and feminize the men in the system. So that's the difference. So women got to wear their hair straight back. They can't wear no design. Bar right there, but go ahead. Yeah. That's part of the breakdown, right? You break the family down, you break the community down, but now you got to break down the individual. It's a whole psychological genocide, right? Physical one too, because that food that they serving in there, I don't know what the fuck is in it, but there is an investigation nationwide. So my thing is this: you got women that's, where was I with that point? Because I'm gonna speak all the categories of women. But where was I with that point?
Yeah, you was basically, hold on. Somebody said we buffering.
Just discussing.
Let me see something. I think we good. Okay. So yeah, you would basically just finna talk about exactly, you know, what's going on. You know, you talk about the defeminization, and then you talk about
the defeminization. Yeah. So yeah, because I wanna just, you know, be as like clear and concise as possible. Because this is a freestyle, we on live. This is not rehearsed. I don't have questions ahead of time. And so
it's all good. Yeah, we freestyling. You know what I mean? That's
yeah. So like I said, you know, the whole idea of demasculizing men, like some of the things that I heard that men had went through, the women that had gone through that, and I'm only speaking from the perspective of New York State and having had spent some significant time in each minimum, maximum, and medium, all 5 facilities, and I have like a different perspective on how each one functions. But then I have a clear analysis on what like connects for each facility and what are like common themes that we continue to see like across each facility. And, you know, the way that women are masculized is like to wear tight pants could be penalized for that, depending on how tight it is, you know. But like, you know, women are allowed to get in certain makeup and stuff like that, but you can't have weaves. So, you know, it is what it is with that. So you can do you can feminize yourself as much as possible, but really and truly, the jobs that you take on are jobs that men usually take on. And I'm not saying it as like, you know, those are just mostly like the jobs that are dominated by men. And then men take on the jobs that's mostly dominated by females. That's just one thing. Like I have heard men say that during chow, mess hall, eating time, cafeteria time, that they can't look at the correctional officers in the eye. They got to keep their head down when they talk to them. And I was like, what? Like, I don't know. That'll be tough to have to deal with, like, year by year. Like, you know, it's real submissive, but I never had experienced that in no facility that I was in. But I do know that at one point they had prevented women from wearing designer braids or doing a hairstyle in a certain kind of way. And I felt like that I'm not feminine and that I don't mind wearing a whole setup because that's kind of like the clothes I wear, flight jackets, baggy jeans. Like if I was a femme, that would probably be very uncomfortable for me. But since I'm not, it didn't really bother me. However, wearing my hair straight back did bother me because now I look too masculine. You know what I'm saying? And now it's like you're forcing me to be something that's just that it's like you're forcing me to look one way every single day. Forget all of that. You're just forcing me to look one way. That's too much control. And then you're disguising it under the grounds that you could possibly be designing your hair as gang signs. But then you got the nerve to be wearing a tattoo with your white arm of a dark black baby, the darkest black baby boy that you could find with the nappiest hair. I mean, whoever the tattoo artist was, like he really knew what he was doing. And then it has like a noose around their neck. So it's like, you know, to watch the correctional officer, right, who just finished disrespecting the whole entire unit or the people that's there, you know, because they get fly out their mouth. That's another story. But then to watch these same black correctional officers that disrespect us have to stand up here to this person that's wearing that tattoo with their sleeves rolled up so that they can see it.
So hold on for 1 second, because I'm trying to figure out something now. So in the correctional facility, you mean to tell me? Well, first off, we already know that it's tons of races in the so-called justice system. You know what I mean? You know, when it comes to KKK, you know, they took off their sheets and they put on these different uniforms. You know, from the CO to police officer to, you know, with judge and all of that.
Yeah.
But the thing that bothers me is the fact that you're telling me that there are men that's pretty much correctional officers in a women's facility, like tons of men, or is it just women COs and stuff like that? Like
what? Oh no, there's men. There's probably more male officers than female.
Okay, that don't even make any sense to me.
It don't make sense to a lot of people. It don't make sense to a lot of people, but we got to remember that it's like the whole equal protection clause. Our 14th Amendment rights give us the right to equal protection clause. So you cannot discriminate. Right now, as the laws are set, you cannot discriminate against men working in female facilities, and vice versa. You can't discriminate against women working in male facilities.
But I can guarantee you they don't have as many women in the male facilities that they probably have males in women facility. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing that's kind of bothering me. So if I could see if it was just probably one or two males in that facility, but if
it's mostly males, and that is where the problem comes. So let me say this. First of all, it is a problem, but I'll tell you this, the problem is a lot of problems. The problem is that we think that that's a problem, but the people that live there, if they get a male officer on their unit, they would prefer him. Believe me, as long as he's not a weirdo like that or a sexual harasser or when we were there, trust me, we would prefer a male. Why? Because women, once again, got issues. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, it's not enough for a bitch to be up in jail and have her whole life swiped away. You still mad because I just sold my pants, and so what? Like, my ass is out there. Like, I can't help that shit. Or you gotta strip me down in a visit after a visiting room, and my body look better than yours, and I'm locked up with a whole 1990 number, and it's 2015. Like, so now I gotta deal with that shit.
So
You know what I'm saying?
You're saying the women CEOs are way more aggressive.
What?
Say it again.
What?
Okay, so they way more aggressive. So I mean, I'm gonna say they trying to be harder than the men. Then so it's almost like a showcase, for the CEOs. Like, hey, I'm about this.
I really think it's more like haterade. It's a lot of catty. It's like this cattiness that go on with a lot of that feminine stuff. And it's like I said, like, women, the way that they do time, they're gonna be who they're gonna be. If they fly chick outside, they're gonna be a fly chick inside. That's just how it is. People could wear Jordans. It can't be above $50. They figure out ways how to get it for $50, and it don't cost $50. They figure out ways how to alter their pants. It don't look like it's altered. They're gonna be who they're gonna be, just like I felt like I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be. That's just how it is. You're gonna represent yourself. You're gonna survive.
So I'm gonna tell you this, because I had I got a little homie, little homies that I grew up with. I used to beat up on, because that's what we used to do. You know what I'm saying? To mentor them, right? So you beat up on them like little brothers and stuff like that. Yeah. But he ended up being a police officer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the thing about him, he's still a good guy to this day, but he's seen a lot. You know what I mean? He probably can't come out and talk about it, but I decided to hang with him one day. He had a little party, so a lot of his friends actually came to the party. A lot of his friends were police officers or in the academy to be one. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm talking to them, hearing different conversations. Come to find out that most of them actually became police officers. Number one, they was actually taking in a lot of Black people for different reasons. Some of them was going to be undercover, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, I'm gonna say it's hard to trust on our people, because you never know what they are. You know what I mean? They get paid. But what I heard from the stories, it's like, I'm like, why do you, out of all the things that you could be with your life, why do you want to be a police officer? And here's what most of them said. I was being, bullied during high school, bullied during this, I just want to do, the right thing, the one, but at the same time, I want to show people that, I'm the man now. You know what I'm saying? I want to show people I'm the man. And I heard the exact same things for these Caucasian officers and things like that. They say they was bullied. So they got to the point where they want to bully back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
so
that type of psychology, that's messed up to even hire someone like that.
It is, but think about when you go on a job, you're not going to tell your employer or your flaws. You're going to keep that out of the conversation. You know what I'm saying?
But there's things that we can find out about people, like a questionnaire or whatever. We can find out people's true personalities, and especially when they go on a job, so we start to see little certain things that they do, little certain patterns. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's a fact.
And be like, what's going on with this? Let's talk about it. You know what I mean? But I don't think that's going on. And I think they welcome those type of people into the forces, you know what I'm saying? And into the system as far as correctional officers and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because they welcome that type of energy. But go ahead. Mm-hmm.
No, finish what you're saying.
No, so I definitely see where you're coming from when you say, like, hey, I don't think women should be in these facilities at all. So number one, women should be protected no matter what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just something as simple as they bring in the babies. You know what I'm saying? But after that, there's other places, like, say if someone do something messed up, there's other things that can actually happen versus just throwing someone behind bars. You know what I mean?
Right.
Someone can get
like diversion programs.
It's so many different things that can actually happen for a person that can get their mind straight. Like, okay, wow, I didn't see it like that. My mind was all over here, because after someone gets locked up, I'm gonna tell you, a lot of them don't even come out better. They come out worse, and then they end up going back.
That's a part of the process.
That's through the trauma and everything that happens in there. because I heard some things too. But I just wanted to express that like it's a whole messed up thing. You know what I mean? And like you said, that's the process. But yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, that is a part of the process for sure. But backing up to like, the example that you gave where the police officers are bullies and stuff like that. And then a lot of them say that that's the reason why they become police officers, correctional officers, parole officers, anybody with authority position, so that they can start, ordering you around, and they'll act like that. And so, for me, the worst part of this is like, there's a lot of different things going on. There's that. We can't just say all correctional officers or all police officers became that because they were bullied. Of course, there's a large population that happens to be true for, right?
Right.
But correctional officers, some of them, they came from the Army. They came from the Navy. Like, they came having a military background and they got discharged. And so their only option for a job to where they will be honorable is a correctional officer's job. That goes the same for some of those doctors and nurses and dentists in there. Some of those doctors, nurses, and dentists, they got discharged. They got their license taken away, but they could still get a job, guess where? Inside the Department of Corrections. Who cares what you got discharged for and what you did up in there?
We don't know where they at mentally. I mean,
no.
Like being a soldier for whatever country, there's things that those people see and they mess their mind up. You know what I mean? And they have to take different shots and all sorts of things that really bothers their mind. So to put them in an environment where it's almost like, okay, they could be treating it like some type of war. You know what I mean? So anytime something pop off, like let's just say like somebody have a fight. You know what I mean? So soon as something pop off, it's like a trigger moment. You know what I mean? That could put that soldier back into to whatever war they was fighting or whatever they was dealing with at the time. So they're gonna just react that way. So this nice person, this nice guy, all of a sudden turn into a beast, and mishandling a whole person, mishandling a woman or a brother just because they not really into it. It's a whole psychological thing that I don't think they have the real the proper screening to test these certain people, so. Yeah.
I mean, they do. I heard they do get screened. I heard it from a correctional officer did speak to that. And they said that they do get tested, the mental health part. And it bugged me out because I'm like, half of y'all are bugged out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I understand that the system itself is twisted. So if they didn't come there crazy, which a lot of them don't, as long as I stayed in prison, I've seen a lot of officers, they really come in. And that's why I was going to say the third category of people who become correctional officers, police officers, parole officers, those authority figures, they really, a lot of times, they come in with the idea that they can change the system. You know what I'm saying? And this comes from my perspective. When I came home after serving 11 years with an associate's degree, I went back to school, studied criminal justice and human rights, because I wanted to understand this system, not from a subjective standpoint. I want to understand it now from an educational, objective, and historical standpoint. And so that's where I'm speaking for right now. So a lot of my classmates had also, chimed in on the conversation to speak to their siblings or their family members or their friends that they know that had become correctional officers, police officers, for what reason. And, I remember this one classmate had stated that her sister was a police officer. And when she went through all the training, she was Hispanic. She was a Hispanic woman. And when she went through that training, she dropped out because she was like, they're literally training us to target and, our own people. Like, I can't do that, but for a lot of people with the benefits that come with that job, the honorableness that come with the job, the respect that come with the job, the perks, everything that comes with that job and that authority that comes with the job, right? It's like, they're going to work with it. So if they come in there wanting to be nice and fix the system, I guarantee you 1, 2, 3 years later, completely different soul, completely different person. And so you can't fix a system that you're only a pawn in. Yeah. That's a fact.
That's a hard part.
And so that was my hard part. That from my perspective, that I came home with all of this knowledge, thinking that people actually care about these lives. that's sitting here in prison, and what's going on with these women, our most vulnerable people of a society, is formerly incarcerated, not just women, formerly incarcerated women, because not only do 75% of that population go in being a mother to one or two dependent child, sole provider of, not just a mother to, but a sole provider of, and then having mental health, substance use issues. But then you got to deal with the fact that if you in there for prostitution or drugs, them officers is going to try you. You selling your body in the street, that means you giving it up like that. What's up? And that's not how that should go, my nigga. That's not how that should go. You understand what I'm saying? But there was this one officer, that's all he did was target women who had that type of crime. You know what I'm saying? And like women, nobody knows why they take on these jobs and these roles. Nobody grows up to be a stripper. Maybe nowadays, because it's, it's a little different. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Like, just the way that shit is set up, people got to do whatever they got to do to survive. And sometimes that means you go to jail. Sometimes that means you go to prison. And sometimes that means that was enough for you to realize, yo, I could have did shit a whole different way. You understand what I'm saying? But when we're talking about women and girls and why I do what I do and why I have speaked out and why I'm in the problems for speaking out for women and girls, I did what I need to do for me. But as a woman myself, to know what I know, to see what I saw, and then to come home and realize, like, what the fuck is this? There's a Me Too movement. Where's the Me Too movement for women and girls in jails and prison?
Come on now.
And when they actually had a conference that I showed up to, what the fuck are y'all talking about? I don't care what that should say on paper, how many policies y'all fucking pass, how many rules y'all do, how many on. You got men inside of women jails. You know what that looks like? That means my dick gets hard often. I'm going to tell you straight like that. Because a lot of these chicks, they know just how to get that dick hard and get what the fuck they need. And 9 times out of 10, they just want to fuck their girlfriend anyway. Homeboy, you was just a pawn. Sorry, just to let you know. That's how they give it up in there. And that's a whole nother story. But like, you know what I'm saying? To sit here and like, that's another thing. Is like men are men. So it's like their egos come in the way. So she's sitting there flirting with me. She wanted, it don't matter what the rules are. I know that I went to the training and they told me I'm not supposed to, it doesn't matter how much the attraction is there. I'm not supposed to pursue my captive. This is my captive. This is my slave. This is my property. And if anybody don't know that to be true, they better read the 13th Amendment where it says that slavery was substituted for if you're guilty of a crime.
And look, I mean, nowadays, all they have to do is call you a criminal.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? And they'll throw you in. You know what I mean? So you don't even got to be good. You don't got to. You know what I'm saying? So it's that, why didn't I say so? You know what I mean? That's what they go off of. Why didn't I say so? And they'll throw you right in. And once they label you as something, then you have no rights after that. You are legally a slave. You know what I'm saying? They get to do whatever they want to you. You know, you have no rights.
Listen, it's true. And the reason why I say that is because I want to go back to the invisible disability part, because it's like, when you see somebody in jail or prison, they're in jail or prison. But when you see them home, even if you know they're on parole or probation, you just assume like they home, they good. But nah, at the end of the day, to the definition of a criminal, definition of somebody who's a felon, the definition of somebody who traded in probation instead of getting jail time, the definition of somebody who had already served their time, and now because somebody decides that they don't want to let them go so fast, that they want them to spend a couple more years outside in prison, monitoring, surveilling them and checking up on them, giving them curfews and stuff and telling them who they can and can't hang out with, and just dictating your whole entire life for you. The only thing you could do is get an education, get a job, and be your ass home by 7 o'clock. Some states is 9, So, it's just really not easy, this whole labeling game. But it's more so to be labeled, but then even a fight to get that label off, or the fight to be seen as like who you truly are, But that's just for any gender. The reason why I choose to focus on women is because, like I said, number one, I am a woman, and that's who I was locked up with.
I'm just saying, nobody is talking about what you're talking about. I'm gonna keep it real with you. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is talking about what you're talking about. I don't hear it at all. Like you said, where's the Me Too movement for that? I mean, that would be a whole different thing if the Me Too movement will come out and say, hey, such and such touched me when I was locked up. And it's like, Me too. Me too. Me too.
Right.
Okay. You know, then we got to look at the whole system. It's like, okay, what's really going on in there? And should we
Right.
change? You know
Right. And so here's my thing, you know, it's like my testimony, I got so much backlash, so much death threats, so much death attempts. You understand what I'm saying? But that's just that was just with that situation. I have two different situations. Is that, you know, plus the former job that I had where there was employers hunting me down, and that's a whole nother story. But you know, when I sit back and I think about my testimony, for sure it was powerful. For sure it was educational. You know, more than anything, it was educational, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to educate people because I'm sitting here as a part of the audience. I'm not a person who planned on speaking. I don't even like speaking out. You know, people think that I do. They're like, yo, you get at it. And that may be true because I had to develop that over time, because you know what? It's just not enough to go through this and suffer in silence. And then it's like, I feel like I'm stronger than I probably, like, sometimes my strength amazes me. And then so I think about, yeah, but if you had a kid, or if this happened, or if that happened, like, imagine being pregnant, giving birth to your child, accused of a crime, not guilty of a crime, but you still shackled, like your whole belly. You know what I'm saying? But then the statistics of women who ran away while on shackles during pregnancy is at 0%. Then why are we still enforcing these laws? What do you mean is at 0%? You mean to tell me in the history of prisons and jails that no woman have ever tried to run away, but that she still right now has to wear shackles on her belly and be shackled in the hospital while giving birth, and there's no fucking proof that she ran away? Why is there no proof that she ran away? Because if she wanted to, she can't. She is physically handicapped. You understand what I'm saying? Anybody know what it's like to be pregnant? I sure don't, but I know that from what I know and the research that I've done, you're considered handicapped because you're not going to function with a big melon on your stomach in the same way that you would with a six pack. That's just how it is, whether you got a baby in there or not. You know what I'm saying?
It's a fact.
So these are the type of things that stalk me. Being in here and having to serve my time for prostitution or drugs that I ain't trying to be on, or however I got on there. Like, look at DMX and how he got on drugs. And a lot of women, I started to ask that too, because, you know, I had a situation where I was in jail. And when I was in jail, I was messing with somebody who I found out a year later, she was 16 years older than me. Let's start there. She was 16 years older than me. So that's another thing where young boys and girls got to go through. Sometimes there be different kind of predators. You just don't realize it. You know, it's like, it's weird because how I got into this situation of getting this crime, I ended up taking the fall for a guy that was 20 years older than me. And when I look at that whole R. Kelly documentary, yo, that shit was like, oh shit, like I didn't even know. It's not like I was with men, like I was with women, but at the same time, like I fuck with dudes, like those was my niggas. But then it's like to be taken advantage of, and that's not even your man. That was weird for me to realize that after I played over everything. So like, every woman has a different experience. It don't matter if you gay or not, if you feminine or not. If it's just that more feminine women to me are put in like that. They just have a different lifestyle, that the sacrifices that sometimes they're forced to make it's just different, right? Like I want to change gears real quick, like, because a lot of what I spoke about in that testimony was sexual violence. That was a lot of what I thought about, you know, because again, a lot of the stuff, I only had one situation and I handled that nigga. You understand what I'm saying? But I also had to deal with homophobia. You know what I'm saying? Like weak ass men who are feminine and they mad at me because they mommy and daddy made them feminine and they made me more masculine than them. Like, I'm just who I am. You understand? I'm not trying to be a man. I'm not trying to be nothing. Like, I am who I am, but it's not, you can't blame me for being more masculine than you. And now you want to target me because of that. So that's like my experience, but that's a small percentage of us, right? There's probably like 10% of women that look like me, maybe 15, compared to 85% is more feminine, right? So they get targeted in a different kind of way.
Right.
So for some women, that's their way of survival. You gonna be an officer? Oh, you a dirty officer? You a dirty nigga? Oh, you want to flirt with me? You want to play with me? I'm gonna get you, nigga. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play with you. I'm play on internet. I'm gonna get you. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm gonna survive my whole bit. You getting me shit that I can't have. Period. That's my survival. Or I'm gonna get to where I need to go. I'm gonna be out of place. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. So that's their survival. That's how they do time. That's a small fraction, because it's not you can't really be incognito in prison. Everybody knows everything about everybody. You can't. It's no hidden nothing for a little while.
Yeah.
For a little while, you know.
Crazy though. Yeah.
But I want to say this once again. My perspective comes from not just a person in prison, but also like I study criminal justice. And one thing that I learned the why it's not legit, because I knew women who were down with it. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's a natural thing for human beings to be attracted to each other. I don't care what rules you put on people. You can't stop people from having sex with each other. You know, it's just it's just naturally wrong. And so the idea that anybody think that you're going to put somebody in prison and they're not going to have sex, they're going to find a way. Whether that means I'm going to be on my best behavior and marry somebody just because, or if I already have a wife or husband, you know. But then in the women's prison, there's a lot of women on women action going on in there. Whether you ever tried it or not, you're going to try it because you heard about it. You heard it's popping.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you I'm telling you, like it's like, huh?
No, I was just saying that's understood. Yeah. Yeah.
Nah, that's I don't know how I can't really speak 100% to the male jail, but in women's prison, it's like widely accepted to be a lesbian in it. Mm-hmm. So if you heterosexual, like how it is out here in the real world, is like heterosexual relationships dominate society. That's why there's so much stigma on LGBTQ plus groups and all of this stuff that we're dealing with. But at the same time, it was like for me, you know, growing up this way in the 90s, well, my whole life, but like in the 90s as a teenager, as an adult, and then into the early 2000s, there was so much stigma. There wasn't no gay rights. There wasn't no Obama. There wasn't none of that. And so now I go to prison and this is lit. This is how it is in here. Ain't nobody discriminating against you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got that part of the situation. It's a lot of parts of the situation, but the main part that I have a problem with is that there can never be a situation where a woman is attracted to a man in there and they have a loving relationship. There is no such thing as love in prison. And if you have love in prison, you will be crushed.
Yeah. So
I'm telling you that you will be crushed.
Yeah. So it sounds like, you know, there's sisters that's being used as well as like they're using them as well, you know, for whatever type of gain or value they can get while they're
absolutely
alive. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So,
there's no discrimination against nobody. Women are gonna survive how they need to survive. Period.
That's understandable.
I've been used by feminine women who pretended to be lesbians. They're not even full lesbians. And you sitting here gassing me up. I'm mad young. I don't know nothing about being in a relationship. I'm thinking this is what's real. That's a whole nother situation, you know? So it's like, the problem with the officer part is that it's not illegal for women who's doing time to be in a relationship together. That's not really illegal. It's not illegal to be in a relationship. It's illegal to have sex with each other, right? So my thing is, from an educational standpoint, more than what we know is just the rules. But from an educational standpoint, I found out why it became the rules. Why correctional officers cannot have infidelity. They can't even have infidelity with each other, more or less, with the women, a relationship, sexual relationship. And so the reason why is because there's a power dynamic there, like it is with an adult and a child, you know? So it's like, why do you think an adult can't have sex with a child? Like you can easily manipulate that child. You understand? You have so many years and experience over that child. And power over that child.
That right there, you know, when it comes to like these certain movements and things like that, I feel like it can all be manipulated in many different ways. So once we put out like, hey, you know, there's a saying when people say, love is love, or, you know, I mean, just stand on that. We really have to think about it. Exactly. What do you mean? Because there's people that could fall in love with any type of being. So you mean to tell me that that's okay to just say love is love? Just let them do what they want to do. Let them, you know, possibly manipulate someone, because someone could, just like you said, because someone could, hey, say, I really love this 6-year-old or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's weird.
Love is love, right? I could really
that's
love
weird.
I'm in love with an animal. Love is love, right? You know what I mean?
No.
So that you start to move the goalposts and
Right.
things like that. So
Right.
I'm gonna ask you this question though. I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask you this question because you have a movement. All right.
Not no more, but go ahead.
Okay, you said not no more. So
Nope.
I'm gonna say you still have a movement. You still got people that follow you and follow what you're saying and really agree with what you're saying. You know what I mean? So with that said, plus you're speaking out.
Yeah.
What do you think we as a people should do when it comes to the things that's actually going on in that system? Like what do you first off, what do you think we should do? And what type of things do you think that should change after that?
So what do I think we should do? So the first thing that we should do is what we're doing right now. We're interested, right? We got interested. Who is this chick? We don't know her. We don't know nothing about her. So we trying to learn, right? I don't have a lot of following. I don't have a huge following. I don't put myself out there. I'm not for the TV. I'm not for none of this shit. You know, what happened is that with my experience and me filing over 700 grievances, me appealing my case 9 times, I started, you know, and then I came home and got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and human rights. Like I was just going ham, working full time, going to school full time. And I just wanted to understand the system because I knew that I still was experiencing the residual effects. And it was just so much I didn't know. I read The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. And that's really what set me off. So from there, I just been on this quest to understand the system a lot differently, you know? And so a lot of the spaces that I went speaking about it mostly from a reentry standpoint. I have never spoken about my crime. And when I started to speak about my crime, it became difficult for people to understand that I went through prosecutorial misconduct, police misconduct, judicial misconduct, and that it was all racial based. And that literally I had got a 17-year conviction. Nobody was hurt. Nobody saw a gun. Nobody saw me. Like the witness was a white woman. She was looking at me like, who the fuck? Like, this is not the person that was in my house. Like, she just looked horrified. And I would never forget what her face looked like. And it was just, you know, a strange situation. But it's like not enough to just go through that injustice, but survive it and then be on parole and, you know, want to use your experience for positive. And then all these jobs that I was getting in the criminal justice space, they, you know, a lot of them were doing good work. And a lot of them, you know, there was a lot of different movements that I had just joined as a part of the audience. And I was learning like, you know, like, yo, there's people doing major work and that people want to know. And like I said, I started to speak about reentry, like how hard it would be to get education, a job, or housing. I had no problems, no death threats, no nothing. I wasn't even on social media. And so what happened is that once I started working at Borealis and I started to speak out about my case because I started to learn about what was going on across the country because I'm speaking to raw people like myself who's not, you know, by no 501c3. They're not a part of, well, you know, some of them was a part of Black Lives Matter, but they wasn't really a part of it. It's just that they didn't know what else to call themselves. You know, it's like, yes, Black Lives Matter, but I'm not really a part. It's like me saying like I was a part of the No New Jails movement, but I wasn't really, I believed in what they did and I gave my contribution, you know. So, but, you know, when you get people that have that firsthand experience and they're pissed off and they want stuff to change, you know, and then like part of my job was to figure out which grantees are we going to get funding to and, you know, who fits the criteria, bail reform, police reform, and the work they do and the work we trying to fund. But it was through that transition of building the fund. It was a brand new fund that I was like, yo, all of this stuff that had happened to me is happening across the country is systemic. This is systemic racism. This is systemic oppression. This is a continuation of slavery. And a lot of us are confused. A lot of us second guess ourselves like I've been second guessing myself this whole time. But now I don't have 11 years of experience in jail and prison. Now I don't have 9 appeals that said that no motherfuckers, I was never guilty. I testified on my own behalf. Y'all ain't catch me slipping in one motherfucking part of my testimony, but all of the police officers, they testified and they were slipping all a part of theirs, right? They lied on themselves. They lied on each other. And there's even pictures that showed that there was stuff moved around, as well as we know the person who did the crime got away, and that's what y'all really mad, because I'm not sitting here helping you do your job. Do your job. You get a lot of money to do your job. You understand? So my whole thing is like, it was just a shock. It honestly, because I had buried my case, all I wanted to do was just go home and move on with my life, do something good. I don't know, something more positive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I secured that bachelor's degree to make sure I don't never have to put myself in a situation when I'm down and out. Nah, I could get a job now easily. I got that bachelor's. Don't worry about my felony. Let's speak to this. Let's speak to what I've done lately, not 20 years ago. You know, so this is where the problem lies. The problem lies is that when I got triggered on this job in this kind of way, support was given to me, right? When I did that powerful testimony that everybody was saying how powerful it was, they didn't understand that as powerful as that shit was, I didn't plan for it. I didn't write it. Like, I literally wrote that shit down 15 minutes before I did it. I literally decided I was going to do it 20 minutes before I did it. I'm not for publicity. At that time, I've been under surveillance in the 11 years. They have cameras, they have microphones. I wasn't for no cameras and microphones coming home. But it was either I stay with this shit in my head, or I get this shit out where it needs to get out, where people want to know, should we vote $11 billion jails or should we not? I don't know that there's a whole plan already set up. I don't know that, because I'm not a part of none of these groups, so I don't know. I try to give my raw, honest fucking answer based on my situation. You mean to tell me that you motherfuckers get to sit here and lie on this system and talk about the violence? That's what triggered me. That's what set me the fuck off. That these motherfuckers is sitting here talking about violence, and I'm watching them in their eyes, and I'm listening to what they're saying, and I'm watching what they're wearing, and I'm watching the color of their skin, and I'm watching everything and listening to everything, and I know they got their tattoos under that uniform because I've seen it so much that I know what it looks like. And I'm listening to the lies. The lies. The fact that I went to school for this shit with a 4-year degree. The fact that now I'm home about 4 years. At this point, I'm home 4 years now, had nothing but criminal justice job. And you telling me that I'm only now learning from a group of no new jails member who's really talking about what this system really is. And when they started spitting that shit, it started making me put the pieces together for all of these sectors that I've been in. It started making me wake up for all of this shit that's been going on, and there ain't no way in hell that I'm going to sit up in here on this philanthropic horse. You understand what I'm saying? A philanthropic horse. Philanthropy is as big as the government. Okay? Anybody here want to know where that slavery money, what you think that shit disappeared because we're in a different time? Huh? Because your ancestors died, they didn't give you the fucking rest of the pieces to the chest? No. The slave owners, their kids are still here. Just like the slaves, we are still here. Their kids, we are still here. We are still facing the same shit. And so what happened is back in, I don't know, it was like, I don't know, when was the Great Depression? Was it the 20s, like 1929 or something like that?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the tax laws had changed around there. So the rich was supposed to get taxed more, just like they're trying to tax them more now, because we got to make up for this money somehow. Y'all got a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? So what happened then is they try to change the tax codes on them. But since rich white people make the tax laws, they made it to fit for them and fit for society. So they said, we know we're in a Great Depression. We know we got to give up some money. However, we got to stay in power, and we trying to keep all our money. So how about this? How about we keep 95% of our money and we'll give away 5% to charity? And so that's how the tax code, that's how philanthropy came to birth. A lot of people don't know what philanthropy is. About 85% of white children know what philanthropy is. About 85% of black children do not know what philanthropy is. Okay. This is a major thing and a major topic and a major takeaway. Forget all of this prison stuff and all of this stuff. This is important, and I feel like equally important. Absolutely. But when we talk about what are we supposed to do about this? Well, first of all, you can't do nothing if you don't have no money. A lot of us love doing that free work. That shit feels good. Yo, I did it from my heart. I did it. That's all I've been doing. Hello. I sacrificed my whole life in 11 years to file grievance on behalf of 700 other motherfuckers while I filed appeals for myself. So I've been putting myself out there and at risk. And that's part of the reason why I'm experienced now. Because I don't know how to have y'all do this shit to me and us And then we just supposed to sit here being fucked up and traumatized, bullied and harassed every fucking day. And we just supposed to shut up after 1971 riot in Attica. These men died so that we can have this very same system that we sitting here like, I don't know why the men get everything and we don't. Well, let's change that. And we did.
Mm-hmm.
And we did. But the problem is, what happens when you do everything to change that and you still lose, though? This is a losing battle. There's no wins here.
Yeah. So you're saying, go ahead.
Nah.
So you're saying it's one thing to talk about it. I know a lot of us, we get emotional about these different situations. You know what I mean? We speak out. You know what I mean? And like you say, we feel good when we speak out. Sometimes when we express ourselves, it's almost like therapy. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
we do that. We go home. We're like, I did a job. No, we can't just stop there with just speaking. You know what I mean? So we have to come up with solutions as well. You know what I mean? So you pointed out one of the things, you basically saying that there's money available for any type of problems or issue that we have. And you mentioned philanthropy,
Yeah, so let me tap back into there real quick. How much more time we got on this, by the way?
Go ahead. I mean, however long it take. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So here's the thing. A lot of the times that the past times we talk about it is so far behind. A lot of times, people of any race, they don't really understand why black people still talking about slavery. Y'all ain't fucking slaves now. You get a job, motherfucker. Get this, get that. And it's like, you already know the stigma, the narratives is already embedded in. So they're going to have that perspective. And it's cool because, a lot of times, like, people really speak from ignorance. They really don't know. And if you educate them, a large percentage of them will be like, oh shit, like I didn't never think about it that way, because I feel like a lot of it is education. That's why they try to silence people like me. You know, understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, if people are willing to listen and they want to learn, then they start to understand this system from a point of view that's not being shown on TV, that's not being spoke about by these so-called leaders. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like adds to a different perspective of something they might have had of their own. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, go ahead. What's the question again?
So we basically coming up with solutions.
The philanthropy.
So the
solutions. Philanthropy. Yeah. Listen to me. Mm-hmm. Once again, I was never supposed to be in the place that I was in. That's why I'm kicked out now. I was placed there to be neutralized. Okay. And when I couldn't be neutralized, they made it. Hold on. Before they saw they couldn't neutralize me, they tried to offer me $20,000 in hush money. We got to let you go. We're going to give you $20K hush money, give you 3 months of motherfucking health insurance. Don't worry about it. Like, just sign this piece of paper. You never talk about this again. Don't write about that shit in your music. Don't talk about it to nobody. Like, what? That's a whole nother situation. Philanthropy. That was the last job that I had. So I was in philanthropy for 3 years. I started off as an intern. The other jobs that I had, it just wasn't enough for me. I wasn't maximizing my role. I felt like I wasn't helping. Like money moves, so if organizations is not getting proper funding, sometimes they got to cut corners on the way they do work, and then that doesn't help people, even a most well-intended organization. So what happens is I had took on an internship at the Ford Foundation. So the Ford Foundation is one of 3 of the richest foundations in the world. So once again, where's the slavery money? It's in philanthropy. What is philanthropy? Philanthropy is a place where all of the rich people keep their money in an endowment, in a foundation. A foundation is an endowment. It's like a bank account, right? Where it grows interest over time. And so they got to follow the law, though, right? They have to give away 5% of their money to charity. And they could choose whatever they want. It could be criminal justice. It could be women's rights. It could be immigration. It could be whatever they want. And so what happens is there's 5% of money from each philanthropic organization, philanthropic foundation, right? That they are literally looking for people, organizations, individuals, and groups to give that money to, right? They just have to fit their criteria. So when a lot of Black people are putting out activists for getting money for their work, I just see it a different way because, again, I entered a space that was once traditionally white. It only changed colors over 10 years. And I only been home for I just hit 6 years this year. I just got off parole last year after serving 5 years on parole. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say, like, this is a drastic change. And then to hire a felon in this space, an ex-felon in this space like myself, which I was still a felon because I was still serving time. I just was on invisible chains, you know, but I'm not traditionally the person that they will hire. So the job that I had, you know, was created by somebody who had been tokenized in other spaces as a Hispanic woman. And she had decided that she would create this job to allegedly not do that, and was to hire people from the communities in which they serve. So they had a lot of different funds. I'm an ex-felon. I was on the criminal justice fund, right? Working on bail and police reform. They had people there who were transgender working on the transgender fund, right? Funding groups who are uplifting transgender rights, as well as immigration fund, uplifting immigration rights, as well as disability fund, uplifting disability rights, as well as, you know, racial equity fund, uplifting racial rights and women's rights. And so this is one of the most prolific groups that I could think of that exists. This was revolutionary, you know, and I believed in the work. I believed in the work. I believed in my team. I believed in everything that was said. And so what happened was, once again, I started to become triggered because I've had different jobs where I've been tokenized. I've had different experience, different jobs, been tokenized. I wasn't tokenized here. Actually, they actually gave me way too much responsibility at times. You know, we was virtual, we work in national. So, you know, in a way, it's like I'm my own boss. And then I'm on parole where I can't travel, but from this having this job, I get to travel because I'm working on a national scale. You know, so that was cool. But the thing is, what happened is that I decided that I understood that I'm working a 9 to 5. I don't belong to nobody. You know what I'm saying? So that means that when I clock off of work, I can say what I want. My experience is still my experience. And so, you know, at that time, like, I just wanted to talk about this stuff because it was like you said, like, people do things for therapy. So anybody who wanted to know about the system, I was willing to tell them. So after my testimony and I became traumatized, because it's as powerful as it was, is as much as I had to relive it to tell it, you know, and then tell it in that way that just kicked up so much anger and rage. And so, you know, on behalf of other women, understanding that I just survived my silence from trauma. Imagine how much women ain't surviving a trauma from silence, and the stories that they've told me I can't get out of my head, you know. So and it's not enough that they went through it and that officer is still there doing it to somebody else. So the fact that this job had hired a whole wellness team for me, a team worth of fake therapists. I had 2 fake therapists sent my way by this job and by their wellness team that they sent me. They had also a breathwork coach, this lady that helped me work with breathing and somatics. And it was like they were helping me heal, and then they were helping me break back down. They were helping me heal, and then they were causing me to break back down. You know, and it was just a weird experience. I don't know what they were doing because I'm thinking they're there to help. And then I also had a healing coach. A healing coach who was supposed to be my you know, she was a former activist of 25 years. So she was supposed to be coaching me on that. That's where I started learning about infiltration, but she never did it digitally. She only did it in, you know, it's old work she's done. So that's like, I don't know. She's been an activist in the 90s, 80s, early 2000s. She's been stopped doing that and started doing like healing work and education. It turns out stuff started not to make sense to me. Because here I am online for the first time in 2019 after my testimony. Only reason why I came online is because I said to myself, you know what? It's not enough for me to do this. It's not enough for me to be traumatized by it. Let me go to my community, the people who I did this for too, and start to build community there. And to show them, because listen, all of the work that I've put in for myself for doing trainings and getting these type of jobs, like, I just wanted to show my formerly incarcerated community, like, we don't have to satisfy, we don't have to settle for a life of crime. Like, there's some people who do stuff because that's where they come from. That's all they know. Like, you understand? And everybody else they know from their hood, like, that's all they've been taught, but they don't know that there's another way. And if they know there's another way, they're going to go for it. You understand what I'm saying? Because we all know we have our Black excellence, just that we sometimes are not able to exercise it in the places that we sometimes are in, and that way is kind of out of our financial economical control. So, a lot of times people succumb to different kind of things, and it just, this is a lot. A lot be on my mind. So if people talk to me, they're like, yeah, it sounds like a lot on your mind. It might sound like a lot to other people, but this is regular.
Yeah, so I mean, it's layers to it. It's layers.
That's
to
what it is. Yeah.
What's going on, and then as far as like you said it, as far as what we should do as people, we should come with an actual solution. So now we know for a fact. I mean, there's certain people in the comments saying there is money on the table. You know what I mean? So we don't necessarily have to start from scratch like that.
Yeah.
So there is money on the table to make things happen for any type of situation that we are working with or dealing with or want to get out of. So if we want to make change, we have to first off, build in unity. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So cause it's one thing that I wanted to put out, because a lot of people, they're that's in the B1 community. There are a lot of people that's conscious and things like that. They end up shunning people that even look like you. You know what I'm saying? So they say, someone say, you have a masculine energy. Guys don't like that. But guess what? She's a sister and she's Black first. You know what I'm saying? How you truly be one and you're not looking at, the color of her skin first? Because I'm gonna tell you this. That's what all the other races do. They put their race first. You know what I'm saying? And then, I mean, whatever else conversation that we need to have behind closed doors, we could do that. But in front of everything, to actually have a good solution, we can't argue about the other stuff like that. We could still move strategically together. This is chess. We keep on saying this is chess. It's not checkers. So that means it's not going to be on the surface level. It's way deeper than how we feel. Now, this is a sister that's saying, hey, we Black first. I'm not putting, there's no reason for me to even put my sexuality out there like that. Like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? So
let me speak to that real quick, because first of all, I want to say two things. When I speak of this organization that I previously worked for, this organization I previously worked for was about 92% people of color. Let's get that clear. So, and then another thing I want to just bring back a little bit back to them Black babies with them tattoos and how scary that may seem. And these Klan members that they be in correctional offices, they be on their phones talking about, yo, how was that Klan meeting last night? They be open about that shit in there. Like, when you be in there, you are clear about where we stand in America. I just didn't know that it was still like that out here, because I was a kid going through that for a long time. I was just a child. And then now to come out here as an adult, like, oh, hold up. Like, at least the people in prison know what's up. These motherfuckers out here is just lull asleep. They snoozing. So, but my thing is this. People would hear those stories of those tattoos, and they would be like, probably imagine how the white people would treat the Black people, right? Those type of Those type of things start coming to your mind, like all the wild movies from slavery that you're seeing. Let me tell you something. No. The saddest part of what I'm about to say right now is that a motherfucking cracker with those tattoos, the KKK cracker with those tattoos, because only a cracker's gonna wear those tattoos, treat us better than the niggas do. I didn't have problems with those people with those tattoos. I didn't. And that's crazy, because that's what I spoke out against, is situations like that. But I didn't, because you know what? At the end of the day, you mind your business in prison, you pretty much be all right. Now, I can say for the most part I mind my business, but when you writing grievance, you're not really minding your business. But for the most part, like, I really did what I had to do. I was in a part of cliques and sets and doing all this wild shit. I wanted to get my education and get something outside. This don't have to be a part of my future, my present, no nothing. Like, this will stay in my past. But the idea that, people that look like you are the ones bullying and harassing you every day. So that the ones with the tattoos, that they could look up to them, that they would look to them as if you did a good job, nigger. Like, good job, nigger.
Okay. So I'm gonna say this because white supremacy is white
Yeah.
supremacy. A lot of us with this color skin, darker, or whatever, you know, we are acting in a slave, actually in the a slave master mindset. You know what I mean? It's gotten to the point where they don't even have to do nothing. The actual racists don't have to do anything.
No,
you know
they
what I mean?
don't. That's what I'm saying.
They already doing it to themselves.
But that's what I'm saying. But you know what?
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here and yes, that is a part of white supremacy. But at the end of the day, this whole idea of getting that bag by any means necessary, money over bitches, money over everything, money, money, money. That's all that's embedded in our heads since we was young, since now. And then we see how we treat it when we don't have it. We see how we treat it when we do have it. You know what I'm saying? And then these people know how to use their money. They know how to buy people. They know how to pin people against each other. Like this story could go so deep, but it's like, you know, almost it's almost 11. I guess where y'all is at 10. But you know, at the end of the day, back to what I was saying about the fake therapists. I think somebody was up in here asking about fake therapists. They might be a part of that crew. But since they want to know, they here, we all here, right? And how I knew that they was fake therapists is because I was going through two different things. I was going through a transition from this job of awakening and realizing that, first of all, I had low self-esteem. I was experiencing trauma. I was away from society for a long time. So I was trying to piece my pieces back together and fast. But at the same time, I was also speaking out in these spaces that I thought cared about these issues. And so I was being harmed in these spaces without realizing I was being harmed in these spaces. And then by the time I realized I was being harmed in these spaces, I had just exerted so much energy to get my bachelor's, to my graduation, to realizing that the world is completely different than I thought. It's you know, this digital shit is just weird. But besides that, it's just everything. But after my testimony, like I said, I wanted to go back to my community, share my work. And especially since the hostility that I was already feeling, I wanted people to just know what I stood for, know what I've done. You know, and to know that no matter what happened to them in prison and however much they was violated, like somebody spoke up for you. Like somebody remembered that shit happened. So you might have to do shit to go to sleep at night, but and can't speak to that shit ever in your life in public because of how painful that is. Somebody did that for you. And so I ain't need no trophy or nothing, but I did want to empower whoever those women were to know. And the idea that these fucking perpetrators, right? These perpetrators are the women that I spoke for, these correctional criminals, the idea that I get online for the first time. And so I'm kind of like an amateur, right? Because I read about it, I never experienced it. So now here I am experiencing it, thinking that because I set my privacy settings private, that my privacy settings are private. So on Facebook, I was private. On Instagram, it was public. Whatever I wanted to make public, maybe my music videos, testimony, that would be held on Instagram. But anything I was talking about, my power and leadership movement, would have been on Facebook. So I decided I wasn't going to just share my work, just say, hey, look what I did so great. Nah, I just had a breakthrough. I just broke through my trauma, and these people who are talking about no new jails just helped me to find my power back, find my voice back. That whole voice I had during those 11 years of incarceration, I had lost it coming home because I had to deal with another kind of trauma, and none of that stuff mattered at the point other than putting your life together. And now that I've gotten that back, I wanted to spread the love. I wanted to build on that because I thought that was important, because I understood that I was a small percentage of the women who actually are really suffering because they had their kid when they was 5. They coming home to that kid at 20, and that kid is disrespecting them. That kid don't even know them. That shit is crazy. You know, that's a whole nother experience. Aside from just being, you know, sexually, you know, whatever, or harassing stuff, there's other stuff that people are going through, you know, and I feel like I can't be the voice for that. We all have different experience, and there's a lot of people who do want to have the voice, and let's talk about it. I didn't name no names of that testimony, and I didn't even follow up. You understand what I'm saying? One of those city council members gave me his phone number after. I ain't follow up with him because, you know, it's not about talking about an individual. These correctional criminals was faking accounts on my fake Facebook page, cloning my friends, pretending to be people that I know that were formerly incarcerated, pretending to be those victims. You understand? Because they were afraid, how far would I go with it? And it's like, yo, we're trying to heal from you motherfuckers. We're trying to hear. We don't care about reporting you motherfuckers. You're going to get caught one day because you ain't no good. They're going to find out about you. You understand what I'm saying? But for us, it's more about surviving what happened after prison that nobody don't know about. And if for me, it was to help to build a community to where we could have that space. And so for that safe space that I tried to create, for me to see the first names, the last names, and the images of people who's formerly incarcerated to really be correctional officers behind those accounts was crazy. That's why I had made that video that says responding to domestic terrorists. Why? Because these are not just correctional officers. These are correctional officers who are mad that I talked about those tattoos. Why did I talk about those tattoos? Because this is a system that's culturally fucked up. It's not about the structure. We could build $1 million, the $1 billion this, the $1 billion that, make it fancy, prancy, all of this shit. Bayview was the nice prison. I can't tell you how nice it was, but we had problems there because I was the grievance clerk there. It was #1 on the sex offender list, as quiet as kept. It was the most rehabilitative jail, the most humane jail. The staff were Black, and the Black people were not abusive. I've never seen that shit nowhere. They were not abusive. You know why? Because they was in a city close to home. Everything was made easy for them, so they didn't. It was the most rehabilitative facility, but it was so relaxed that it became like kind of like a substitute for home. And so again, you can't have men and women together and not think they're going to be attracted to each other. You can't. And it's horrible that people, they got to go to jail, these men, for naturally being attracted to women. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the reality of it. But the other part of it is that it's wrong. And the other part of it is that I know women who started off where they was down with it, you know, because we like to think, oh, it's one thing with being raped. And then there's another thing where people think because you're their girlfriend or because they're your husband that they get to rape you. No, that's still rape, you know? And so there's women who might like a correctional officer. They might be down with it, but then they not down with everything. I might do this, but I ain't trying to do this. And then they like, but nah, I look at you like you're a piece of shit, bitch. You gonna suck my dick. What you mean you're not gonna suck my dick? You understand what I'm saying? And then, you know, one of the stories was she did what he asked her to do, and then all of a sudden, like, he just became mad violent with her and then dragged her ass to the bathroom after they was done and started like putting dispensed soap in her mouth to scrub out his cum out her mouth to make sure that he ain't gonna become one of those stories like them other stories, right? To where them women was being violated and they was saving that sperm. They was putting that shit on ice. Oh, I don't have no evidence. Here go your motherfucking evidence. So now I'm being raped. So here's another story. So there's this situation where now women are actually being raped, but don't nobody believe them, right? Because those cameras and those microphones, those are not for you. Those are not protection for you. We get into surveil and monitor you. We're not protecting you. So when you're saying that camera and that microphone is what's seeing the rape, oh, it wasn't working that day. It was off. So now you're like, it was off? Okay, it was off. So now that woman pretends to like the rape because she's being raped. She can't stop it. He has the key to her cell. Late at night, he's opening that shit up and doing what he needs to do and then closing it back up like it never happened. So now what happens is she's a part of it, right? She's liking it now. Liking it just enough to get him off so that she could save that evidence. Motherfucker, I don't have evidence. Your camera not working? Here go a bag of fucking sperm. How the fuck I get this? Get out of jail free ticket. Right? Get out of jail free ticket. And then you got other women that's mad at her that she's telling on a correctional officer that did her dirty. You know how twisted this is? I can't even this gonna have to be a part 2. There's a lot of twist to this.
Yeah. I mean, it's levels. You know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but when we're talking about why there should not be jails for women and girls, why? Because men, these correctional officers, after you get out the shower in Albion Correctional Facility, right? Because there's different structures in the facility. So in Bedford, there's cells. There's back buildings too. You know what I'm saying? To where you inside of a dormitory, kind of set up like the old offices. I don't know if we're going to have offices. Everybody probably going to be having their jobs online. They used to have an office. But how they used to have cubicles in the office, some facilities, their units are set up like that. And so what happens in Albion Correctional Facility is one of the only ones that I knew that actually enforced this rule to where men can walk through the women's bathroom, to where men can pat frisk women. It's been a rule, but a lot of facilities really try to call a female officer, and it's unless there's no female officer in sight, then they will allow a male officer to search that woman if there's nobody else to. But in Albion, being at the ratio from men to women, there's more men to women. There's more male correctional officers than they are women. And so what happens is there's not a lot of women staff on call. So I'm going to search her. But the rule says that you could only search me as a man with the back of your hands, not the front of your hand. So you could touch my breast with the back of your hand. You could touch my vagina with the back of your hand. You could touch my ass with the back of your hand. You could touch wherever you want. As slow as you want, as sensual as you want, as fast as you want, as gropey as you want, with the back of your hands. Another thing these correctional officers like to do is when you get out the shower, you get your robe, and you're in these dormitory cells, and you just have a little curtain. But because men are taller than women, they get to look over your curtain. So if you like 6'10", between anywhere from 6'10" and up, then anytime there's certain officers, when women get out the shower, you'll watch them. They're supposed to do rounds, right? So rounds is like a checkup, make sure everybody's in place, everybody where they're supposed to be, everybody doing what they're supposed to do, and nothing happening that's not supposed to be happening. So that's supposed to happen every 30 minutes, some places every hour. So what happens is they'll choose their hour and their half an hour at the time where the girls get out the shower and do their rounds and play peekaboo all day. And it's like we know it because we waiting for you to pass by before we take our robe off. Creep. We already spread the word about you. We know about you. But it's the fact that this is still a part of the process. Here's another situation. One of my homegirls is having sex with her girlfriend. She should have asked me to look out because that's what you got to do sometimes. You want to get caught, you ask somebody to look out. I'm right next door to her. She didn't ask me to look out. So she having sex with her girlfriend. A correctional officer she thought was cool. Then that's how you say there's correctional officers that's cool and not cool. None of them are cool, but the cool just means that they'll let you do stuff that's not really legal in it, like having sex with your girlfriend. Yeah. But there's a catch-22 to that. So this officer knew that was going down, let her go so far. Then he came over there like, busted. So now your ass is out. And you know you're not supposed to be doing that. So come over here to my desk real quick. Let me talk to you. Yo, when she told me this shit, I was so fucking pissed off. She basically told me he gave her an ultimatum. Either they're going to fuck with him or they're going to shoot. Solitary confinement, 23-hour lockdown. You understand what I'm saying? You get taken off the whole unit. You know what I'm saying? And without your popping, it's just different because there's a keep lock. There's two different solitary confinements. There's keep lock, and then there's the real solitary confinement is shoot. And she didn't want, nobody wants to go to shoot. So they put you in this situation to where now he's coming over. Like she didn't agree to it, but now it's like he didn't even wait for her to agree. He just groping on her anytime he feel like it. So now because I let you slide, because if you have sex with anybody in there, if any girls have sex with any other girl in there, any woman having sex with any other woman in it, it's automatically 90 days and shoot. If it's your second time, 6 months, your third time, a year. So shoot, that's also loss of good time. Potentially you could stay in prison longer. Oh, hell nah. So it's like now he groping me wherever he wants to. And I'm not going to say that. I'm trying to survive. Then there was another girl who, you know, she had 3 years to do. She was all in love with her boyfriend. They was all in love. About 2 years later, he seen she wasn't coming home. Now he out of there. You know what I'm saying? Because more women stick by men than men stick by women. That's just a statistic for whatever reason. And so now this girl starts confiding to me that an officer that was like 30 years older than her was flirting with her. And she was telling me that because of her relationship, how vulnerable she was and how, you know, he was making her feel like a woman again. You're making her, you know what I'm saying? Like she was crushed, like nigga just left her in prison and they was on love, was scheduled to get married, the whole 9 yards. And so here goes this officer giving her the attention she really need. And it's just playing on her vulnerability. And so next thing you know, it started off, she's with it, you know what I'm saying, flirting back. He started giving her stuff, bubble gum, some tapes, her favorite artists, you know what I'm saying, stuff that's hard to get in there. And she was taking it. And then one morning she woke up and he had his tongue down her throat. And she didn't like it. And his breath was disgusting. And he's 30 years older than her. He's disgusting. Like she ain't want to take it that far. So it's like when we talking about that power dynamic, yeah, they think that they start to own you now with that 25-cent gum, them $5 tapes that they be bringing in. It's not a lot of women that's really with it. And the ones that are, they're literally doing that shit for survival. They would never be attracted to that person 9 times out of 10 in the real world. They would not be attracted to them. And they would not give them the time of day. So everybody do it in a different way, but these officers take advantage as well, you know, and it's just a violation. And I will say this, that's one thing with the males. Let me talk about this from a lesbian point of view. From a lesbian point of view, because a lot of times people would think, oh, if you have another lesbian, you want an officer looking at you like that. You understand what I'm saying? I've had relationships with women in prison because I felt like as a lesbian, there's no way I'm going to be locked up with women and follow your rules of never to have sex within the next 11 years. That shit was just not going to happen. However, I did not mess with female officers. I'm not into messing with correctional officers. And, you know, when you get searched after a visit, the officer have to strip you down naked to make sure that you don't have no weapons, you ain't trying to smuggle no drugs or whatever. But sometimes some of those females, as I'm sure it happens in the male, they try to violate you and shit, you know? And I'm speaking from this perspective because it's one thing to deal with this from the men, but there were certain things from a lesbian point of view that I found awkward, you know, that I didn't think I would find awkward. And so, you know, to have a woman, like I'm more of a, like, you know what I'm saying, like a masculine female and stuff like that. So I like feminine females. I don't like masculine females. And so to have like a feminine female treat me in a masculine way as a correctional officer, it just felt weird. If she wasn't a correctional officer and we was into each other and she was a little bit aggressive, I might be attracted to that in the moment, especially. But being that I'm not, one, attracted to her, two, this is not the situation for that, three, what the fuck are you doing? And it's like literally like you making me into your bitch right now. Because you gonna tell me what you want me to take off. You don't want me to take off nothing before you tell me to. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like a male officer would never be able to strip any female officer. They could only go that far. But then female officers who are lesbians take shit to another level as well. So it's not just that. It's because of the men that there should be no system for women and girls. There should just be other alternatives for people to pay for crime. Right. Yes, there's some wicked people doing some real crazy stuff, but that's a small percentage of society that we're talking about, right?
Yeah. I mean, man, you didn't say some stuff. We definitely gonna have to make a part two.
We gonna have to make a part two
and really get down into the depths of it. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna say this, sister. You know what I mean? You came out of that, and it seems like, you know, you level-headed, you strong. You know, you are a warrior. You know what I mean? I know it's certain things that, you know, it's triggering. You know what I'm saying? You know, you're probably still dealing with some of the trauma that you've seen and happened and even heard about. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's powerful for you to come out and speak about this. Like I say, I don't hear about this. You know what I mean? Like, no one's really coming. I'm going to say no one is coming out saying anything about this. Someone mentioned this should be a documentary. It probably should. It probably should. You know what I'm saying? So just so the message could really get out there. You know what I mean? So, you know, yeah, I'm gonna have to bring you back, sister, so we could really tap some things, you know. And I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be, you know, definitely structure. I'm gonna do some more research and then, you know, we'll go from there. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, because you know what, it is a lot. So I try to stick to each topic individually, but then that'll trigger into a different topic. And like I said, you know, I come from different standpoints. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a former gang member, but then I went to school before I went to prison. But then I had school and then the streets as one, but then I had a whole different prison experience. And then I went to school after prison. And then I was working in the criminal justice field, in criminal justice spaces. And then lastly, the last job that I that I no longer have, I was working on a national scale. I've always worked only on a New York scale. Now I'm seeing stuff from the southern point of view, the eastern point of view, northern. And then I'm like, yo, this system is like what people need to know, no matter how they feel about it or what side that they're on. They need to know that from my perspective, I speak strongly about this because whether you're Republican or Democrat or conservative or liberal, everybody agrees that we need to transform this system. You know what I'm saying? Everybody really agrees. The only people that don't is obviously the people who still want to uphold this type of white supremacy power. Yeah. But for the most part, even a lot of them are willing to bend in a way that they still maintain that, but that, you know, some stuff are outdated. So it's like, for me, I just wanted to, like, you know, add to the conversation and contribute. But the fact that I didn't realize I had this whole analyst. Like I told you, I was suffering from self-esteem and I was suffering from trauma. So you don't know none of that shit. You just know your trauma. That's all you see. That's all you know. And so now what happened is I need all of these trolls to know. I need all of these fake accounts to know. I need these fake therapists to know, this fake wellness team to know, this fake ass job and these fake ass friends that they sent my way to try to get all up in my head. I need them all to know that they are literally a contribution to why I do have this powerful voice, for why all the attempts that they tried and everything that they do and everything that they've done that I haven't even begun to speak on. You understand what I'm saying? In this space, that it still has me to the point that you ain't succeeding what you was trying to do, which was to silence me. And when they when I didn't take the $20,000 of hush money, they felt like they was gonna attempt to silence me in the different ways. You understand what I'm saying? And when that didn't work, then they realized they're really dealing with God's child. So now they have to deal with God while they to the devil 5 times a day. Because what y'all need to know is that fake therapists, before I get off this, I'm not going to start no part 2 without putting them out there. Those fake therapists that was hired by Borealis, my last job, are part of a satanic cult. Okay? This is the best part that they was waiting for. That's why they're here to the end.
All on his own. Yeah. Ooh.
Huh?
Okay. That's a part 2 all on his own.
All right, but I want to say this because you know what? Yeah. That phone interview that I had did, where it's titled Borealis, that video I had put out. You know, at that time I didn't know they were part of a satanic cult. I didn't know that. I just knew that something went wrong, like something went horribly wrong, and I had all the reasons to point to it. But what started to happen is I had found out about the second fake therapist who tried to put a diagnosis on me, you know, and a fake diagnosis on me. And after 29 days, she took it off because I challenged it. I read the DSM-5 3 times. I know the law. I know mental health law. I know all of this stuff. I've been in prison, experiencing a whole bunch of stuff with mental health. And I know that certain things, you know, like aren't for insurance, but you can't tell me that you gave me a diagnosis for insurance purposes, not because I have the actual diagnosis in an email. And then you're telling me that you're not only telling me that you're giving me a diagnosis for insurance purpose, not because I don't really have it, but for insurance purpose. But then I have to remind you that at none of the 15 times we've seen each other did I ever pay with my insurance, mama. You charge $180 to speak to me for 50 minutes. You know why I'm paying that crazy amount of money? Because I don't want no motherfucking diagnosis. That's what the rich white people do. Not even just rich white people, rich people. It just happens that most of them are rich. There's 70% rich people in comparison to 70% poor black people across this country. Those are what the statistics like, which within the range of it. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say that when I was taken advantage of and going through therapy, most of what they wanted to know is how much I knew about this system. So when you sit here like I never heard nobody, that was their whole thing. They never heard it either. And they wanted to know more. And they started asking me stuff that I didn't even know I knew about. And the more they want to know, they were vacuuming me for information. They wanted to pump all of it out of me. And the good thing is that I ain't trying to be out here fucking, I want this shit out of my head. What do you think is the point? You know, this is about healing. You know, but they're looking at it as this is some revolutionary shit. And it turned me into some revolutionary shit because if you're going to be targeting me in this way, then guess what? What am I supposed to do? I might as well roll with the punches then. You understand what I'm saying? But this is a lot of digital stuff. This is not physical. This has turned into physical, but they're being so secretive about it. They're not showing their face. They're not showing their names. They're cowards. So they're sending these digital death threats that's now translating into real life situations. Man. And those people are the Ford Foundation, Barred Prison Initiative, Borealis Philanthropy. They're all tied and connected to each other. And you know what else is connected? My entire case and why I did 17 years for a black man that got away for robbing a rich white neighborhood, evading hundreds of white male cops, helicopters, and canines, never got him, ever, right? And then the people got their purse and wallet that only had, so you're telling me I did $400, I did 17 years, 11 in prison, five here, yes, that's 16, it could have been 17 if I violated parole, it would have been added on, so that's 17-year conviction, hello. for somebody else that stole a personal wallet. They ain't shoot nobody. They ain't kill nobody. They ain't have a gun. They ran in. They ran out. People came to police. They ended up catching us. They ended up finding the property in the woods. He dropped the bag in the woods. That shit was never on me. Because I wouldn't give him up, they turned this shit into something else. They saw a black woman that wanted to get on. Not only did you get on stand and testify on your own behalf, but you had the DA looking crazy. Like the judge even had to tell her, bitch, move on. It's not working. Like it's not working. Whatever you try, it's just not working. But what happened is that they had coerced the jury. I had a burglary in the first degree, possession of stolen property in the third and fourth degree. No, I had burglary in the first degree, possession of weapon in the third degree, and possession of stolen property in the fourth and fifth degree. I had about 7 counts of stolen property because there were credit cards in there, right? But literally, I did 17-year conviction for $400 cash. It wasn't about the $400 in cash. The victims, they got their property back. And again, she didn't understand why I was on trial because the person was a black male that she described that was in her house. She never saw me, never saw a second person. But the idea that I wanted to exercise my right and be that 1% in this county that's going to what? Nah. You know what I'm saying? So this system of race, this is a system of racism. There will be no black strength. There will be no black excellence. There will be no black youth. I was a child. You understand what I'm and according to the law at that time, I was not legal to smoke cigarettes. I was not legal to drink alcohol. I was a child, but I was legal to be convicted for 17 years when there was other options for me. I was a paralegal in my 4th semester. I was in a gang, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. I dropped out 3 years ago and had all of these credits to show for what I was doing. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like the idea that I'm in this space now to where forget what happened. That happened. But now I'm really doing as good as I could get because I had to come home with everything. I had to come home with all the knowledge I didn't have. I came home. I don't even know what Wi-Fi is and computers done take over. What is Wi-Fi? What is this Wi-Fi shit people talking about? Word. That's how I don't even know how to create an email. I had to get help with everything.
Yeah.
You know, and that's hard because people look at you like you're stupid. And then when they look at you like you're stupid, they try to treat you like you're stupid, and then you got to defend yourself like, no, motherfucker, I'm not stupid. This is my situation. Now I got to keep explaining why I'm stupid or why I might not know this. But what happened is I just went through it. I went through the different training, so now I could get where I needed to get. And so you telling me that I got to come back to my hood, back to my former gang members, back to my people who be in the streets that be sitting here like, yo, I wish I could do this. I wish I could go to school like you. Now I got to go back here and tell them that no matter how hard you tried, because trust, I tried the hardest and took one for the team, for every team that's out there that look like me, that come from where I come from. You know what I'm saying? Where it's embarrassing for you to be, for me to be in college and prison. You know what that's like? You motherfuckers try to play you. Why? Because they understand that you don't want to lose your college, right? Fuck losing your time now. You don't want to lose your college. Now I can fuck with you like that. It's just a different, you understand what I'm saying? So it's not easy to go through that. And then to come home and now I don't want to associate with older people. I want to make new friends. I want to make new things, but at the same time, still be myself, still be a part of my community, still be for my community. Like that's where I come. That's all I know. So that's what I have to do. Like, you know, and so you telling me that I can't do that unless I look like you, unless I dress like you, unless I talk like you, unless I shut up, unless I don't. When people saying, yo, what's wrong with this, that you don't give no answer. They're not asking you for you to give an answer. Why you keep giving answers? Why you keep talking about what's wrong with the system now? We just getting our money. The slave owners' children, they get to decide where the money goes. That 5%, let's get back to that. They get to decide where that money goes. They pay it off to 501(c)(3)s, right? Any issues that you see that they riling up, they put money behind it. They want bail reform, they're going to pay for bail reform. They want police reform, they're going to pay for police reform. Any kind of reform they want, they're going to pay for it, but get guaranteed they're going to pay for it, and it's going to be reformed how they like it. And if you don't like that, then you don't get no funding next year. You don't get no funding next year, that nice little crib you bought, that shit disappears. That nice little car you bought, oh, you bragging to your friends about what title you got, you won't be none of that. So then people start to get excited about who they are, what they're doing, and this whole fallacy. And that's why I'm in the problems that I'm in, because I don't care what job I am. You're not going to tell me that I'm not no grantee, that I can't do this, and I can't. You're not going to hire me for my experience and then tell me that I can't speak from my experience. That's nuts to me. I I'm telling you, I didn't read half the shit in my last 2 years of college. I didn't read half of the stuff on that they asked me to read because I already experienced it. And I still got A's in the class. Of course, you read enough to know, but most of it comes from I'm teaching the professor. A lot of my classes, it just was bizarre to me that I'm teaching the professor and I'm teaching the students, but I was also happy to do it. Because what is it for me to go through what I went through, and then we just have this space of what we don't know? How can we get to where we really want to get to if we don't know? One, people are like, oh, there shouldn't be no jails and prison for women and girls. They be doing this, they be doing that. Yes, they do. But the crimes that they commit, first of all, in comparison to men, are extremely different. The correctional officers in women's facility, they don't have to worry about violence like that. A time or two, you might get that. In the men's jails, all the way violence. So if we're talking about like you don't have to worry about violence, you don't have to worry about this, you don't have to worry about that, and then women shouldn't be pregnant, women shouldn't be raped, babies shouldn't be in jails and prisons, then what are we doing? What are we really doing? Because there has been an 800% increase in the amount of women that have gone to jails and prison over the last 10 years. And I promise you, if I'm in the space like the Ford Foundation, where they're one of three of the richest foundations in the world, and they're having me on a conference situation because they want to allegedly add my voice to the conversation. But honestly, the conference is being held because they want to know one question. Why is women the fastest growing rate at an 800% rate? That's a stark number. Nobody knows. They just wanted to find out. But I just know that from the classes that these are statistics of what women face, even in the household, they get treated different from men. There's just a lot of different issues. Like I said, it'd be a part 2.
Yeah, indeed. And I ain't gonna hold you for too long, sister. You already then dropped some bombs on us that we need to really process and figure out exactly, how to deal with it, and then how to react, you know what I'm saying? And not necessarily react in a negative way, how we can move and build. I'm gonna tell you right now, I fucks with you. And the people in the chat, they fuck with you too. So you have people that's gonna support you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and that's what we're here for. We're here to build, we're here to find a problem, see a problem, get the message out, and we're here to build. You know what I mean? So we definitely want to schedule a part 2. Y'all look out for that. But in the meantime, definitely share this video. Everybody share this video.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
We gotta get the word out. And on top of that, you all get the permission to cut out different parts with it, whatever that you want to share, because I know it's a long feed. If you want to cut out a certain part and post it yourself on your own platform, all willing. Like, you have the permission to do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's with any one of my videos or whatever. You know what I mean? Because people need to actually get the information, need to receive it in many different ways. You know what I mean? So, I'm gonna go ahead and in the losses, I appreciate you coming through, sharing this message that we don't even hear. You know what I mean? And we're gonna see what we can do for her. Me and you definitely gonna build.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? But we're going to get it in. You know what I'm saying? So I'll go ahead and give you just the very last words, and then we're just going to end it off that way. All
right. The only thing that I wanted to really highlight, that I want to leave people with, because it's one thing, you learn about my experience. It sounds horrible. I'm getting through it. I've gotten through it. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to move forward in my life and trying to crush my enemies and build allies, as well as continue to do what they don't want me to do, because it need to be done. You know what I'm saying? They could make all the threats they want. Nobody is here to live eternal, not even them. They're mere human beings. And if anybody come for me, just know I'm coming for them. And if I'm not here, somebody else will be there to come for you too. This whole shit would be, this whole country would be lit on fire. So I'm not really trying to be worried about that, because it's like, when you're no longer here is when people unfortunately want to learn more about you, want to hear what you really had to say this whole time, and it becomes a tragedy. And so I want my flowers while I'm here. I'm going to speak my voice while I'm here, and what I want also more than that, people to know, is that this thing that I just keep seeing popping up, I just want to address this. And this is like, there is a difference between paid activists and non-paid activists. And at one point when I was on my private page, I was like, these activists, they're paid activists, and there's some people out here that are not being paid to say what they're saying. And I meant that, and I still mean it. And the only thing that I would add to that is that by design and the way that things are set up is like, there are people also who are being paid for it. Like they know they use, but they also have their own story. You know what I'm saying? I don't respect it, and a lot of us shouldn't. But what we need to understand right here, right now, what we need to take away more from this system, right? Because we're not just talking about the system. We're talking about how can we move forward as everybody, as the United States, united together, and make a system that people are held accountable for their crimes, but that we're not still living in a time of slavery, that we abolish the 13th Amendment, we abolish jails and prison, we create something different and call it something different, hire people that can, you know, that can actually be like, I don't know, sociologists, therapists, whoever, whatever, you know, they could figure that shit out. I don't know. I just have some ideas. They could take it, they could leave it. But all this other stuff that's coming with it, they just need to know, I learned how to be a student. I just know how to be a gang member. If I go to the streets, I go to any hood, any street, any trap house, like, and I'm saying this to say, like, I succumbed to that shit because when all of this shit was going crazy, I had to go back to the only thing that I know. And when I went there and realized this is where I feel most comfortable, I found something very wrong with that. Because they're not about to shove me to the fucking place that got me in the place that I'm fucking sitting here speaking out about. You crazy as hell. It starts off with love, and then that fucking hate creeps in. Once it got you. I know all about what the streets is, baby. And that's not one place I'm about to go back to. Oh, no. So I will be here speaking my piece. And what I want everybody to take away, people like me, people that's listening to me, people that's not these fake accounts, people that really want the education and want to know, yo, based on your experience, what do we do now? What we do now, stop putting each other down, number one. Get that shit out of here. We got too much other shit to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing people sitting here talking about this one, that one. Nobody else is doing what Grandmaster Jay is doing. Nobody else is doing what Puzzle is doing in the way that Puzzle is doing it. I'm not Grandmaster Jay. I'm not on his level, but it's a shame that I'm going through what he's going through in some certain kind of ways. Certain people is like, yo, I'm going through what they're going through, and I don't even have 100 followers when I didn't even have 100 followers. It's like
it's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. You know what I mean?
It really is.
We got to put it together. You know what I mean?
It really is, but
yeah, just that you speaking out about it, you willing to fight for what you believe. You know what I mean? That's what it is. That's what makes us a revolutionary. You know, for the cause, and you putting black first. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you talking about women, but I can guarantee you, when the people that's in the system, most of them are black. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you know, that's what it come down to. It's more of a battle between the righteous and the unrighteous. And 9 times out of 10, or 10 times out of 10, it's black versus white. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to that. You know what I mean? So we all got to be on the same page when it comes to fighting this white supremacy system. You know what I mean? So, you know, we all on the same page, and we got to remain on the same page, but we got to do it in unity, togetherness. You know what I mean? So we can't be talking about like the small stuff, like your religion, you know, your lifestyle and all the other stuff. It shouldn't even matter. You know what I mean? Because we in the state of white supremacy. That's the only thing that we should be focused on. And as far as fighting, you know what I mean, and talking shit about or talking down. I'd rather talk down to white supremacy than talk down to my brother or sister. You know,
that's a fact. Yeah. That's a fact. Unless you calling them out for working for the other side, that's a whole nother situation. Yeah. But yeah, I'm wrapping this up. But like I said, you know, there will be a part 2. I just wanted to leave people with philanthropy. Maybe y'all do your own research. But to be honest, I tried to do research on it. It's not a lot of research on it. So y'all just need to know that that's where the slavery money is. And a lot of the people that are children of those slave owners, they know that. They feel horrible about it. And that's why things are changing, because we're here to educate them. We get into those spaces, we start educating them, they start to make changes. That's what's happening now. And a lot of people be like, yo, if I get an organization, I don't want money from the government, I don't want this. Yeah, but the philanthropy is not the government. Like I said, the government is the government, and philanthropy is at the same level as the government in terms of like they have power and they have similar powers to where, again, they get to choose which groups get that funding. And so they endorse the groups. The groups now feel that they got to do things for them. But these are things that's not true. And I feel like I want to share on the next part 2, like how easy it is for us to get money that we don't even realize. Because if we learn one thing today, right? If we, not even that we learn one thing, we learn multiple things, but if we take away one thing that really sticks, is that we understand that there's finances out there that we can access, because in order for the rich to stay rich, they have to give 5% to charity. And to give 5% to charity means that you're funding issues that are social issues, societal issues. And criminal justice is number one. And also what's number one right now is COVID. So if any one of us right here right now decided that we want to have a COVID clinic, guess what? That's the fastest funding coming from philanthropy right now. You could write up a 2-page grant and have a wild idea for COVID-19. You want to give out vaccines? They'll give you $10,000 over the next 24 months or 12 months. And it's just like that for anything, So I would like to teach people a little bit more than that. And there's certain grants funding. There's certain grant funding that there's no strings attached. There's some of them that are, and there's some of them that's not. So like, if I wanted to do a part 2, I would want to like contribute to just more than like sharing my story of maybe what we could do. But like some people might be here, they have their organization, or they wanted to have an organization, or they just don't understand, how some of this stuff work, and they want to, make a living off of it, because it's not like everybody's doing horrible things. It's just that sometimes money is the root to all evil. And then there's the opposition getting that money, trying to fund and help communities that they really don't care about. So they don't end up helping them. They just end up getting paid, And so if we could fund our own situations, maybe we could fix our own situations. That's the hope. I don't know.
Yeah. Got you, sister.
Yeah, but thanks for having me on,
Appreciate you. Like you said, like I said, you're my sister, and we definitely want to build, you know what I mean? So, hey, y'all look out for the part 2, because it's going to get much deeper, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure.
So,
yeah.
And that's always peace to the guys family. I appreciate y'all for hanging in and listening to the sister,
For sure. Thank you all for being
here. Yeah. Peace to the guys. One love.
One love, homie. All right, then.
Yeah. They insured the ships, they paid for the whips, they funded the expeditions, they paid for the trips, and they talk about genocide, they funded our Holocaust, they screaming out Mazel Tov from throwing the Molotov. Hit you in your noggin, now your yarmulke falling off. It's Yahweh or the highway, you'll be dead when the shotty spark. When the shots hit your chest, it'll burn like Bacardi Dark. Return of the Falasha, kill the white Jew imposter, because you lack the matzah to deal with my people proper. Now you gon' have to deal with this bleeping shotgun, the slumlord. The moment you see me, you know you done for. You even see my face on your TV, you better run for it. The evil Hebrew, unequal, you claim to be the chosen people. The wrath of God come to see you. No respect for Israel, you criminal, set the colony. You hate me cause I'm speaking the truth, you try to silence me.
I believe in my God, and in my gun. And you say, well, you don't really believe in God. If you believe in the gun, I believe in God and my gun. And I pray that He will bless you when it's time.